What's up? What's up, family? What's going on, man? What's happening? Y'all know who it is, man. Y'all didn't think I forgot about y'all. I know y'all didn't. Waiting on Zoe to jump on. It's on and popping. It's on and popping. It's about to be. We about to preview week 0. It's almost time for all the talking to stop. Let me get my boy on here before we get started, though. Hey, we just got finished recording a really dope episode of Tiger Talk with the 1400 Club, man. Listen, man. I am I'm kind of sitting on a your boy sitting on a show high right now. That was a good one. But the show we just did was for our Jackson State folks. It's for our JSU folks. What's up, Daryl? What's up, Will? What's up, Joe? For our JSU folks, those that's planning on going to a Jackson State home game. Oh my goodness, man. You're gonna definitely want to catch that next Tiger Talk with the episode. Tiger Talk with the 1400 Club episode that we just dropped. We probably gonna drop it tonight. We gotta get that one out. It's fresh out the grease. It's like fish grease. Let me get my boy on this thing. I ain't gonna really get going. We gonna get rolling. We gonna get rolling. We gonna get rolling. Who that is? Them boys. What's happening? Upgrades? No, it's been 1 second, y'all. 1 second. I'm running late. This is my fault. The show went over.
Hello?
Sent you the link, brother.
I ain't got it yet.
It's in your email. Let me make sure I sent this thing. I ain't doing that. I sent it.
There you go. I just got it.
He got it. He coming, y'all. Hold on. Hold tight. He coming. I ain't gonna start till you get on this thing.
All right.
Just had to make sure you're ready. All right, cool. So yeah, man. Anywho, dope episode. We brought on. What's up, DJ? Much love, bro. We brought on Terrence Jones from he's assistant director of external operations at Jackson State and the director of the stadium operations. So game day operations at Jackson State about to be on and popping. I'm gonna just leave it at that. You gotta tune into the episode. And that he is. There you go. What's up, dog? I ain't said nothing. I ain't putting nothing out there yet. I said I'm gonna wait till my dog get on. And look at he. Hold on, man. Hold on.
I tell you, you got to stay out of my closet, man.
Hold on, man. Hold on, dog. We ain't do this on purpose, man. I had my shirt on. I had mine on first, dog.
You got to stay out of my closet, man. Hey, all I'm gonna say is
let
Thad Reed know he doing good business.
Hey, he is, man. Shaq, if you up, man, Shaq, you ought to come on this thing, man. We about to get jumped off, man. How you doing, first and foremost, bro? And listen, everybody that's tuned in, I'm going to add a 1 second pause in between answers because I keep getting fussed at. And I'm making it's all gonna be an admin on the stream so he can see the comments. I keep getting kicked in the teeth, bro. I done got called rude. I done got said, kid, keep cutting them off. I promise y'all, man, I ain't trying to be that way. I'm not a rude guy. I'm actually a nice guy.
I'm the rude one, believe it or not.
Though the rude one, I'm the one that's the nice guy. I'm the one that's got decorum and got tact and professional etiquette on Twitter.
I have no tact. I'm not professional. I'm a Jacktown ratchet Jew.
Hey, but they fuss at me, man, because I said I'd be cutting y'all off. I don't mean no harm, man. I just be trying to display the comments. But you know what?
And a fight come with it.
I ain't gonna fight nobody, man. But if you swing, dog, if I'm with you, man, we just gonna have to. We either gonna rock out together. We gonna get beat up together. One of the two.
Facts.
Don't nobody fight no more, man. But, we gotta get back to the days where you folks take an L, man, and we live to fight another day. But Joe get to fight nowadays. It might turn into something. But anywho, yeah, man. Big Sack, what's up, baby? Let us know, man, if you're available to come on. You're more than welcome to come on.
And, BA, what's happening?
But hey, man, it's almost that time, bro.
Hey man, we got 3 weeks, and we're gonna be right here at this place in 3 weeks.
Hey man, let me say it like this. I'm gonna say it like this. I'm smiling this show. You know why I'm smiling? Cause see all that talking, ain't no more talking. Ain't no more talking, son.
Facts, man. We about that action.
Ain't no more talking. So,
Facts.
so all right. But here's what we got. Here's what we got. We got week zero. Now we're gonna cover these week zero games first, and then we're gonna talk about some scrimmage stuff. Cause the scrimmage was
It was a thing of beauty. It was Chef's kiss.
man, bro. We'll get into it though. But anyway, week zero, we got FAMU heading to Chapel Hill, bro. Today, Mac Brown announced his starting quarterback. Some guy by the name of May. Y'all know we JSU folk. We don't cover the other side. We cover the HBCU side. So FAMU got an uphill battle. They're going to Chapel Hill this Saturday, man. What's your thoughts on that game, bro?
Man, well, I'm gonna say this, man. Logically, I will admit I like what Willis Simmons came out and said today. I know a lot of people may think it's just fool's gold for him to even say some of the things that he's saying, but I, for one, if that's my coach, I appreciate that. He said the game against UNC is not a money game; it's a get money game, and so I appreciate my head coach saying that. But logically, they're gonna get their teeth kicked in. But what I'm saying. But we do want to, we want to see that they put up a good fight. But here's the dilemma, though. I really think it's going to be determined on how the game is going, because let's just say, hypothetically speaking, let's say if FAMU was actually putting up a good fight. It's a good close contest, and the game has gotten away from them. You put forth the effort to really try to win the game. In the words of Herm Edwards, you play to win the game. So if they logistically have or realistically have a chance to win the game, you go for that win. But here's the crux of that. Let's say the opposite of that. The game is getting away from him. You know what I'm saying? Do you still leave, if McKay is starting, do you leave him in there, to continue to get the reps in preparation for your next contest, which is a conference game? Or do you go ahead and let Musa get some playing time? How do you handle the roster? Because again, we got to worry about injury, being that it's a Power Five opponent. Like how much do you let the guys go? So there's a lot of things that, we have to keep our eye on, because as it relates to Jackson State, we already know what's going to be said. If they have one particular injury, oh, what so and so is out. But we don't say that because we got good quality depth. But to answer your question, I really did. I believe they're gonna get their teeth kicked in. I believe they're gonna lose by. I'm not gonna say it's that bad of a beatdown. I'll just say they'll lose by 21 points. But
21, respectable.
well, it's still SWAC, as you know. They got the sticks. But I don't think it's gonna be no 40-point loss. You know what I'm saying? FAMU do have some reputable players, and UNC is bringing in a brand new quarterback. They did have some great overhaul from last year going into this year. And the main thing is the main thing. It is still what? The first game of the season. So anything can happen. Even though they have the superior product, anything can happen because it is the first game of the season. But even with that being said, we all pretty much believe that FAMU is going to lose that game. But again, we don't know. I'm a root for FAMU to win, because I hope that they win. Because if they win and we kick their teeth in the next week, it both well for us. So I still think UNC will win. I got UNC by 21.
So first of all, I didn't know that Gene Chizik was their defensive coordinator in North Carolina, but
Yep.
I was just trying to look for the name of the young man that was starting. I know his last name is May, but that's irrelevant. Let me ask you this question. So if you say 21 points, in some eyes, that's actually respectable. I mean, 21 could look like 35-14. I mean, especially when you factor in the last time we saw FAMU on the field, they lost 35-0 to the Southeast. So if they get 35-0 and then they go and they only lose by 21 to UNC, many are going to see that. You come out of that game, you have a good showing, you make your money, you get out of there unscathed, and, first game of the season. The thing that I have the question about, because this is what I was telling you, Mac Brown is a really good recruiter, man.
Yes, sir.
and he
Damn
does,
good coach
and
too.
he's a great coach. You know, coming out of out of UT, that's where I followed him at. I had to go back and man, I'm a brag. I ain't gonna brag. I'm gonna just kind of miss. We was talking, y'all. We was talking just the other day, and this joker always asks me a question. He say, "Man, you know where Mac Brown started his career at?" I'm like, "No." The answer is usually no because he always asks, "Where did he start his career?" Go ahead and tell him.
First coaching job was at the University of Southern Mississippi.
I did not know that. Drake May. There go Blue. What's up, man? Drake May. You know what? I read that today and it stumbled me. Y'all gotta forgive me. Was traveling and literally come straight off the road, man, and had to do this. But Drake May was named the starter. Like I said, UNC over the past few seasons, they put a good few players in the NFL. I mean, he's done a really good job in recruiting in the trenches. So that defensive line is pretty stout at UNC. So I expect whoever is going to start at quarterback is going to have a long day, bro. That's just my opinion. So what we got to see is has let me say it this way: has FAMU upgraded their offensive line to the standpoint to where they can be formidable to at least hold off some of that defensive line to give whoever they decide to start at quarterback, which I think is going to be Rashawn McKay. I think McKay is going to be the starter. That's my opinion on that.
I do too. But to answer your
So,
question, to answer your question, I was finished. I actually kind of believe that Fam O line will actually be okay. That's
right.
not the issue. That's not going to be the issue though. The issue when it comes to the majority of FCS game against Power Five is not the front. Is if we do have a formidable O line or a decent O line, the issue comes into play because we'll only have that five. And then, as the game goes on and they get tired, we don't have the numbers or the backups to match up. And that's where the problem comes in at. So because typically on a normal good FCS line, you probably have three good O linemen on a really good line. But let's just say, for example, let's just say Fam had five really good O linemen that could match up. The issue will be if one of those guys goes down, we don't have the numbers depth wise or a backup that's going to be formidable to fill in with the first five. That's the main issue. And see, also on top of the extra scholarships they have, you know, typically a Power Five program is going to have 10 solid D linemen. So that first guy that goes out, you're going to have a formidable backup. I'm saying that probably will be starting. I'm saying at FAMU. So that'll be the main thing. But I don't think FAM has a solid front five that's going to match up. But I do believe that they could probably be okay because again, it is the first game. There's going to be some miscues on their end as well as UNC. So I believe USC is going to give them avenues for FAMU to have some success. But again, you know, we put a lot on McKay's shoulders. Yeah, they got the rec boys, but again, in their two toughest games last year, they did nothing. You see what I'm saying? Now, granted, that's water under the bridge and it's a new season, but their receiving core's got to step up. McKay's got to step up. I do believe that FAMU has a good chance to run on UNC.
I was about
We'll
to say,
see.
but I was
We'll,
going to say the rack boys that they historically are talking about is usually the wide receivers. But I feel like the rack boys in this game that's important is going to be the ones that's going to run after contact. It's going to
there
be the
you
running
go.
back.
There you go. I agree.
That's the rack
I
they
agree.
need to be worried about because I
And
do feel like they have. I think, I mean, is it a legitimate argument to say that FAMU goes into this game with the better running back core over UNC?
you know what? That's a good point. But also, when you mention run after contact, I agree with you. But you know what? Being it's the first game, they're bringing in a brand new quarterback. So maybe Fam could take the approach of what? Shortening the game, long possessions, but guarantee you getting points. You see what I'm saying? Because let's just say, for example, if FAMU were able to score on their first drive, you know what I'm saying, and or stay in it. Because a lot of times, if you just stay in the first half, whether you're tied or with the lead, that's gonna bode well for you. And that'll give you more confidence and belief in, thinking that you can believe that you can win that game. And so again, they just got to have one more point than North Carolina at the end of the game.
So
I, Go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say another thing is that the DBs are gonna get their greatest test because as many have said, Drake May is the dog, man. He the real deal. So I know they got BJ Bowler, who's a preseason all SWAC. Name is gonna be in the conversation with possibly defensive player of the year. You got a great edge rusher in Isaiah Land with another edge rusher I mean, they added a lot of depth on the defensive side of the ball. But this is where we're gonna see this is that defense really on that level? Because let's be real about this. The days of just saying, "Oh, we want to be SWAC good," is not what we're striving for.
It's
We're
over.
really trying to get to that next level. So it's going to be interesting to see, has the recruiting really elevated, or is it just the first layer? You know what I mean when I say the first layer? Because you can get a really good top 22, good offense and good defense, but when it comes to the depth and it comes to that
It's
second
irrelevant.
unit, that's where them 22 scholarships go to showing his ugly head. See what I'm saying? Because if
Facts.
it's a major fall off, now you're seeing a situation where that's where the games are won and lost at, on that second level.
Well, let me ask you a question though, because if you go back and watch FAMU's defense last season, they didn't blitz a whole lot. Their whole thing was to what? Pretty much keep everything behind them and just rush with their front four. Do you really see them staying in that same mode against a UNC, or do you think they're going to try to be a little bit more aggressive? Because you know, like you say, if that quarterback is buying time, that's going to work against your secondary.
Well, I think what you do is it depends on where they have the success at on the early. UNC had some really good running backs over the past couple of seasons. They had a two-headed monster. It's going to be interesting to see how Mac Brown has maintained that. But I think if your star on offense is your signal caller, you're gonna see them need to have a little bit more. Somebody just put, who is this? DeAndre Aiken said, I think FAMU DBs are too small. That's arguably because they got some big safeties though. They got some big safeties. I think
They got a few tall cornerbacks too, though.
they
Not
do.
all of them, sure.
Losing Marquise Bell is a big thing. I would have loved. I mean, not loved. I'm loving what he's doing for Dallas, but so I think that's where the game is going to be lost at for them. It's going to be they're going to be tested by them cornerbacks. Because Blue brought up a really good point. Let me go back to his name. He said Josh Downs is a top 10 wide receiver in college football. So you got arguably a lottery. Not lottery. I'm thinking about the NBA. You got a first rounder, and you got basically a superstar at quarterback. So you got that 1-2 punch on offense. Does BJ Bowler make his money the way that Kobe Durant made his money against, Clemson when they played last year? So, because he was the real deal, and they're still showing that it's that way at the next level. So, I think if you fam you just trust Isaiah Land. If Isaiah Land is everything that we think he is, I don't think you. I think you just got to roll with foe, man, because you're gonna need that support. Because if you go all out blitz, man, you're gonna get killed on the
Well,
backside of that.
the reason why I asked that is because when it comes to Isaiah Land, and I think he was a great player, the data that works against him, Ken, is that the two toughest games that FAMU had last year, he didn't show up. And coincidentally, watch this. They were the bookends of the season. First game of the year against Jackson State, he did absolutely nothing. Last game of the year against Southeastern Louisiana in the playoffs, he did absolutely nothing. And so, is that going to be his MO? You know what I'm saying? Going to in the season? Because here's the thing. I told you beforehand, I was like, look, first two games are huge for him for his stock. Because if he doesn't get off against UNC, and then you got Big Bad Blue coming into Miami the next week, and you have a repeat performance of what you did against Jack State last year, that submits two things. Number one, we're going to have a new Buck Buchanan Award winner. That's for sure. And then number two, your stock is plummeting.
I think you're gonna see that anyway. Shout out to Aubrey Miller, by the way. But
You know what I'm saying? Well,
okay.
that's a conversation for another day.
DJ's brought up a really good point, though. He said UNC runs an air raid offense with Phil Longo calling plays. It might be a.
That's the same OC. He got to UNC by way of Ole Miss, and the type of offense that they actually run, they're gonna spend it a whole lot. And they got good, they have a few good receivers. I'm not familiar with UNC's defense, but I was familiar under Sam Howell what they did on the offensive, standpoint. And like I said, they lost quite a bit, man. But Mac Brown, since he's been there, they recruited well. And North Carolina is a fairly decent football producing state, so they have good talent on their roster by way of recruiting out of South Carolina and Georgia and Florida as well. So I don't know, man. Like I said, the one thing that's gonna work for FAMU is the same thing that's gonna work against them. It's the first game of the season. So that again, that's one thing that's gonna help them, but at the same time, hell, it's gonna hurt them too because they're gonna have miscues and mistakes too.
Hey, we got my boy on the show, man. We're gonna bring Blue on. I sent him a link. Hold on, just say. And look at Avis. Avis said this shit gotta stop, man. He said we gonna have to stop adding.
Man, Avis capping,
There
man.
he
Avis,
is. What's
hey,
up,
what's
Blue?
up, Blue? What's going on, man? Avis
What's
capping, he ain't
good,
coming on.
guys?
Y'all got it, man. Anytime we talking football, y'all football heads are more. How many can we get on the stream at one time? So anybody
Hey,
want to come on?
Blue,
Because this
before
is
you,
where it's gonna really get fun. Is
Blue,
when the games are played. When the games are played, I'll have all the bells and whistles, the highlights, and all that stuff. Right now, we just kind of want to talk about it because it is week 0. Since you
Blue,
just come on, I'm gonna let you come on, and I'm gonna tell you the same thing I told Zoe. I'm gonna let you finish. I don't want to get fussed at. You call me rude, man. Blue was rolling and Ken cutting him off, and it ain't like that. I'm just trying to show the comments. Go ahead.
Blue. Before you go, I just want to give you a heads up. FYI, my dad this morning said, "Man, who was that fella that was on there with y'all the other day? He know his stuff, man. Who was that fella? How you know him?"
Blue knows football, man. That's why
I'm telling
y'all
you,
look up.
he said, "Where you know him from?" He's like, "He know his stuff. Where you meet him at?" So
Hey,
Shout
I
out to
FYI,
Mr.
appreciate.
Phillips, man. Shout out to
I
Mr. Phillips. Hi, Mr. Phillips. Go ahead.
Oh no, I appreciate that, man. Listen, I appreciate y'all sending me the link, man. Anytime I get to come on and talk football, like I posted today, man. I woke up this morning in a great mood, man. The fact that there's football this weekend, man, you
yes,
couldn't make
sir.
me any happier this week.
Yes, sir. All the this right here,
It's
everybody
over.
finna zip it. You got to put up and shut up now. So we talked all summer. We gonna do this, and that. Hey, we mess around, lose a game. I ain't running. We gonna show up. My eyes might be a little puffy, but I'll be here. But no,
So
real deal. So you kind of put out a comment in regards to the quarterback Drake May, and what was the wide receiver name? I'm gonna go back and get that again. Name
Josh
is
Downs.
Josh Downs. Okay, shed a little light on it. What's your take on your real take on UNC? What do you think is gonna give FAMU his biggest problem?
Their strength this year is going to be secondary. That's probably going to be the number one aspect of their team. They bring back Storm Duck, who has been an absolute stud back there. Don Chapman is back for his senior year, but listen, Tony Grimes is the guy, and he's a guy who was so good. He was one of the early enrollees that and skipped their senior year, got on campus like right at the start of August as a true freshman, and earned a starting job by like the 4th or 5th week of the season. He's a 5-star prospect, was like the number 7 player in his class before reclassifying to, I forgot what class he's in. He's out Virginia Beach, man, 6 foot 195. And one of the big things about him in high school on grass in a game was clocked like accelerating up to like 20 something miles per hour in just like a handful of seconds. It was like the fastest kid they clocked all year long, man. The speed is outrageous. And this year is supposed to be his breakout year. So when you're looking at UNC, the quarterbacks better be ready because you're not just going to be able to throw the ball all over the field on them if you're not disciplined. And I think it's going to be great film for Xavier Smith and Jamari Shareed to go up against some
Mm-hmm.
of these guys who are going to be playing at the next level. Now, on offense, listen, Drake May, I don't know if a lot of people know this, was supposed to be the guy for Alabama. And then once kind of Bryce Young established himself and came in and they landed the other 4-star out of Texas, I'm blanking on his name now, he decommitted from Alabama and flipped to UNC. So this is a
Right.
kid who is a top 50 player in his class in only 2 seasons, threw for almost 7,000 yards and over 86 touchdowns. And listen, it is literally looks just like Sam Howell when he was coming out. And you remember what Sam Howell did as a true freshman. And so I
as
don't
a
think there's
freshman,
going to be, I don't think there's going to be a huge drop off. And Josh Downs, man, listen, last year, a lot of people look at UNC and it's like, what happened? The O line was not great. They had a tough opening week game against Virginia Tech and Blacksburg on like the opening Thursday, man. And that's a tough place to go in there and win. They lose both their starting running backs, both their starting wide receivers. And I just don't think Sam Howell and that team was ready to go out there and perform last year. But I don't think UNC is going to take any step back. I think this year's UNC team is better than last year's, just in my opinion. And I think when you look at the quarterback position we've made. Josh Downs, who I think has all the ability to be at least a second-round pick next year, if not first, depending on how he goes this year, man. He really established himself last year in an offense that struggled at times, but he was the guy that, listen, as you guys know, he was like the Malachi Wadman at times where it was like, he's down there somewhere. I'm under pressure. I'm just going to throw it up and hope Josh Downs comes down with it. And so this year he needs to fine tune his route running a little bit, show that he can do more over the intermediate aspects of his game. But Josh Downs has it all, man, in terms of upside. And the defensive line, they got two, if I'm not mistaken, two 5-star defensive ends coming in. One they landed last year, who's coming into his second year. FAMU's got their work cut out in terms of putting points on them. I think the biggest thing for FAMU, and I think Zoe talked about it, is what this is Isaiah Land's audition to prove that he belongs in the next level. Because you mentioned the Southeastern Louisiana game. I don't know if he could tell you what number Cole Kelly was wearing, because I don't even know if he got to even touch him in that game. Now, Gentle Hunt and Savion had a huge game. Let's not forget that they went off
name in college football.
Amazing. I love Gentle Hunt. But for me, if Isaiah Land doesn't go out there and at least make an impact. Listen, I understand if you don't get sacks, but if you're not even getting pressures,
disruptive,
not making an impact on the game, it's really tough for me to look at it favorably for him. And the other thing is BJ Bowler. BJ Bowler has to have a big game. He's a little bit undersized in terms of height, but we know that he can go out there and make big plays. He went one-on-one with Shaq Davis. He went one-on-one with some of the bigger wide receivers across their schedule last year. This is a game that he has to go out and perform. And if he can play one-on-one with Josh Downs and have a good outing, both of those guys' draft stocks go absolutely through the roof.
Yeah, and one calling card of Mac Brown, his calling card, he's always going to have a great quarterback. I just feel like, again, I think we all in agreement that FAMU doesn't really have a good chance to win, but, just trying to be objective with it, like I mentioned to Ken, the best thing for them is also the worst thing for them. It's the first game of the season. Anything can happen, but at the same time, the same thing is going to apply for FAMU. They're going to have miscues, and it's the first game for them as well. But upgraded the running back room. I just feel like the best course of action, especially with the instability at quarterback with McKay playing or starting, would be to use, I believe the Pittsburgh running back, I believe is probably going to end up starting. I think they need to try to do what they can to shorten the game. But the thing is, they're going to have to score points. They cannot have any empty trips. They got to at least sustain some drives, get to the red zone, get points, and just try to hold. The only thing, again, as good as his quarterback is with North Carolina, it's his first game. Maybe he might be inconsistent. He's not going to be in, regular season form. Maybe that could bode well for FAMU. But even with that being said, they got to play perfect. They can't make any mistakes. And like I said, it's the first game, and that's the only thing that's kind of giving you an alleyway to have some type of success. But, I mean, outside of that, man, I just don't see it.
No, I agree. I think what gives them a better chance is knowing who's going to be there. I don't think you go into a game like this with a quarterback. Like I can't tell you who's going to start Saturday. Like, I don't know. I don't even think here's a better question. Does Willie Simmons know? Like, does he really know? You know what I mean? And I think what's the old saying? If you got two quarterbacks, you got zero. You know what I mean? So I think, and some people like to think that there's a problem. Blue, there was a time when, like prior to Coach Prime, where we had about 5 seasons. What was it, after Clayton Moore left? Montanez Ivy that first year? Yeah, about 5 seasons. I know we had, I still, anyway, I'm going to leave that.
Look, we're not about to taint this show now. Come on, stop.
But no. Here's the point that I'm saying. We could not get any stability at quarterback. It was a rotating room. It was always a constant battle. We saw 3-star talents come in, and we saw Jalen Jones come in and have a true freshman and have to battle with punt. I think when you're struggling, my philosophy is you just go with better talent and you just let him, just take his lumps. But I don't know. We heard some reports, some real reports of Musa being, kind of a high turnover guy. And you saying this defensive backfield, not backfield, but the DB room for UNC is going to be a nightmare for a quarterback that likes to throw it to the other team. You know, they trying to get their stats out. Matter of fact, they want their film when they get ready to enter the draft to show the FAMU game. And that's what they're hoping. So I do feel like the defensive line, that's the thing that's scaring me. And I don't want, not the defensive line for UNC is nasty. And I really feel like that whatever quarterback starts is going to have a long night. So my question mark has always just been, is their offensive line. Can their offensive line really give them time to make some shake? Xavier Smith is solid. You know what I mean? They got another couple of wide receivers that they feel that they're confident in. But we'll see. We'll see. Zoe says 21 points. What's your legitimate score that you think this game going to be a blowout?
I'm trying to be nice about it, Blue.
Yeah, 21 is kind of nice. I mean, that listen,
nice.
I don't think that's worst case for FAMU. I mean, it could be a lot worse than 21. If I had to, put a score right now on it, man, it's tough. I think I would go something in the realm of like UNC 41, FAMU like 13, somewhere in there. I think 41-13 would be about it because they got a great kicker. So worst case, get inside, the 40 and hit a field goal because they got a solid kicker. He ain't missing much, but I personally think it's 41-13 somewhere in there is probably about the margin I would put it. I just don't see how they're going to go into Chapel Hill and pull that one off. And yeah, Calvin Brown put in there 5-star Travis Shaw is the starting D tackle too. So they might have a D line with 3 5-stars. I totally forgot about Travis Shaw.
Man,
so
Mac
3
Brown
5-stars.
Y'all, I mean, he's a hell of a recruiter, man. I've been a Mac Brown fan since he was at UT. I think he's a great coach. But when I saw him put 6 players in the NFL, what draft was that? Maybe 3 drafts ago. What was that? 2019, I think, where UNC had one of their best draft classes that we've seen in modern time. And then you follow recruiting. Yeah, UNC has quietly done space and noise over there. Then you got to figure, with Clemson kind of being up and down in the ACC, this might be the year for a UNC or a team like that, or maybe a Florida State or whatever. But that's really where I feel like they're gonna catch the Blues at, man.
Well, Blue. Let me ask you a question. Going by the score that you just put, what's tangible with that score and with that performance can FAMU use for the next game against Jackson State? What success, knowing the score you pick, what tangible success could they use to segue to use, as a bridge to go to a Jackson State game?
I think the number one thing you have to do is we'll start with the quarterback spot. I think the number one thing you want to see, I think people get it confused where it's like, okay, the drive is a failure if only it results in points. And so in a situation like this, what I'm looking for is composure in the pocket. You're going to have a really good defensive line as a quarterback, they're coming. And so I want to make sure my quarterback doesn't have happy feet, that he's not seeing ghosts out there, that he's not uncomfortable running the offense and running the pocket. I'm looking for a guy who knows the offense well. He knows where to look for his first read. He knows where his drop down is. He knows the different coverages they're throwing at him and where he needs to look and where to position different throws. And so those are the biggest things for me that I'm looking for. And I'm also just looking for someone who's going to rally the offense. If that game gets out of hand, and you're sitting there and it's 35-0, 35-3, who's going to be able to go in there and lead that team and at least have some sort of a drive? I need a handful of first downs. I just need some leadership from somebody. And so those are some of the intangible things for the quarterback battle. But on the defensive side, I need someone to step up and show me that they can play across from Isaiah Land. Right now, they don't have a proven edge guy on the other side of him. I think the combination of Gentle Hunt and Savion opened up a lot of room for Isaiah Land to get loose last year and make some big plays. So Savion's gone. The Raymond Cutts, the JUCO transfer, wasn't eligible. He won't be coming until the next season. He's got one more year at JUCO. So you're looking at Landon Hunt and you're like, okay, who is going to come next to them and open up some room for them to go? Because if you don't have anyone across from Isaiah Land to emerge early, all Jackson State has to do, chip Isaiah Land, double Isaiah Land, and he's not getting off. And that's exactly what Southeastern Louisiana did. And that's why Gentle Hunt and Savion went off up the middle, is because they got some great one-on-one matchups and they were able to take advantage of it. I need to see, is anyone else on the D-line going to emerge? And then in terms of linebacker, is Isaiah Major what everyone thinks he is? Now, I've watched the film from his time at Indy at Last Chance U. The kid is special athletic wise, but I do have question marks about him being able to play sole Mike, because when he played at Indy, they had him at Mike, they had him at will, they had him at edge, they had him at safety, they had him at slot corner. I mean, he played everywhere. And so we know the athleticism is there, but is he going to be able to fill a hole that was a major problem for FAMU last season? When you watch the Southeastern game, when you watch some of the Jackson film, when you watch some of the film throughout the season, they had problems catching running backs out of the backfield. They had times keeping quarterbacks contained in the pocket. The linebacking core just wasn't up to par with what you would think with an elite defense. So those are three aspects of the game that I'll be looking for against UNC. And I tell people all the time, I do not just solely base this off the stats, off of scoring drives, things like that. You actually have to watch the film this game, because I don't think the box scores really going to indicate who's the best option moving forward at the quarterback spot.
Yeah, I concur.
Yeah, this is the thing that does come to mind, and we'll move to our next game after in a few. But Isaiah Land is what, 235, 245 maybe.
Yeah, 235 is what I was told.
Had an opportunity to interview John Huggins. You guys haven't had a chance to watch that interview. John Huggins transferred to Jackson State from University of Florida. So he made a really good point, because if you look at this team, this UNC team is built like an SEC style team in the trenches. You know, their offensive line is huge. When you got these big 6'7" boys, these big 6'6", 330-pound fellas that's banging on a 6'4", 250, not 215, 240, coming out the edge, and you talking about chipping and doubling. I'm sorry, man, to keep getting hit, because one thing we know, the DBs may not make contact every single play. Or if you're on the defensive line, you're making contact every single play that you're on the field. You're going to get touched. And those guys are going to make sure they touch you up. So I'm pretty sure they know who Isaiah Land is. They know that that's supposed to be the star. He's the FCS Defensive Player of the Year. So they probably got a game plan already. And that's my biggest question mark, is that are they able to just walk through them like melted butter, because they don't have the horses to stop the offensive line, because the games are won and lost in the trenches. And people think we ducking folk because I like Coach Prime's philosophy. Why would I go into a disadvantage if I don't have to? You see what I'm saying? So it kind of sucks. I personally don't think it's going to be a 21-point game. I think FAMU is going to lose by an excess of 50 points. I think it's going to be an absolute blowout. I'm not even bull jiving at all.
I'm trying my best to roll with the SWAC, baby.
I'm rooting for them. Now listen. Now don't get me wrong. I would like to be wrong, because this bodes well for us, Blue. And I'm gonna get your take on this, and then we'll move to the Howard, Alabama State SWAC MEAC Challenge game. But listen, if FAMU has a really good showing, that's gonna make the OVC even better. You know what I'm saying? If they really go out there and put it together, and they come out with a 14-point loss, and it was everybody gonna say, man, hey, whoa, wait a minute. Either UNC ain't got it like that, or either FAMU is for real. So now everybody's gonna come into that game. So don't get me wrong, I want that game to be as close as possible. Do I feel like it's gonna be that way, Zoe and Blue? Heck no. I just don't think 5-3. Listen, how many 5 stars is there per class? Is usually in excess of 30 to 35. On a good year, maybe 37 or 38 5 stars.
I think the highest I've ever seen was like 45, 46.
They got 3 on their defensive lines, though.
That's a high percentage, man. When you talk about a given year. Yeah.
It's rare to not be named Clemson, Alabama, Georgia, to have 5 stars on the defensive line. Hey, man. It sucks to go into that game not knowing who your quarterback is. Good thing they got a good running back group. I hope they're able to open some holes for them and make it happen. But this is when, hey, I'll say that. I'll shut up. This is where the type of backs that they do have, Blue, are my favorite type of backs. You see what I'm saying? I like the big backs that can absorb contact, the big bruises, those that can make. I don't like. No offense to the little scat backs and all the little. I like the big boys. You know what I'm saying? So maybe that helps in a manner. Maybe that's the difference between a 1-point loss or a 1-point loss. I'm a basketball. A 1-yard loss or a 3-yard gain. So all I'm saying is that I personally don't. Nobody come for me. Don't nobody come for me. I'm telling you, I think it's going to be a blowout.
And we
Just
gotta
looking
remember
at it,
too, man.
this ain't fandom. This is just football. And I'm looking at this, and I'm looking at this, and I'm saying, ooh, this don't look like it's going to match up well. But go ahead.
We gotta remember too. FAMU's bringing in a brand new offense with a new OC.
They also don't have a quarterback, is what I'm saying. You don't have a quarterback. You got small defensive linemen going up against you got is their offensive line elite? We hope it is. But do they have an offensive line that can stop 3 5-stars coming off the defensive line? So they have a defense that's capable. The Blue just made the point. Their DBs. So you got Rashawn McKay is not a game breaker with his arm. Musa likes to throw the ball to the other team. Okay? We don't know about Meritage or Sapp or whatever the other names are, but here's what I'm going to say. It ain't good if you don't have a quarterback going against that level of an elite DB room, and you got 3 5-stars on the defensive line. They got the recipe to shut them out, is what I'm saying. Last time we saw FAMU on the field, they got shut out by Southeastern Louisiana because they did exactly what Blue just said.
Stop trying to get me to raise my point score to 31 points, Ken.
I'm just saying, bro. I said 50. Go ahead. I'm done.
No, to be fair, I mean, anyone who says that that's hating, I don't think understands football, because I don't think that's hating at all. And I just want to say, like, the reason I don't think it's hating is because listen, to be honest, there's not a SWAC team who's probably getting within 15 of them, and there's really not an FCS team. Yeah, even North Dakota State that I think is going to go out there and beat UNC. I'm just going to be honest. I think that UNC team at the end of the year has a chance to be a top 15 team in the country if everything goes right. So I don't think it's hating at all, man. I think FAMU fans do not put any stock into what your team could be after that game, because that is the best team on the field you're going to see all year long.
Yeah, it is. I'm going to say it like this right here, though. I'm glad we ain't playing. Because it'd be a bloodbath, bro. I'm just telling you. Now, I ain't saying that no, I'm just saying. I would like to believe that we would show up, but I ain't stupid. You get what I'm saying?
Well, I think Matt Brown will show some mercy.
Biggest question mark in Jack State football right now that everybody want to know if we address their offensive line. I am ecstatic that we get to sit and watch FAMU go out there and get their head beat into the I hope they come out healthy. I hope don't nobody get hurt. I'm just telling you, man, you know how I feel about money games, though. I absolutely hate opening the season with L's in games I know I can't win.
Well, Mac Brown,
somebody say I'm being, where you supposed to be to win? 22 scholarships, like Coach Prime said, is the difference in the trenches, man. I'm just telling you, bro. I know Mac Brown, and I know how he get down, man. He get the big boys on the inside. That's how he won championship. You think Vince Young wasn't running around? Go look at the line that Vince Young was running behind. Then you follow that up with Colt McCoy. You get what I'm saying? Garrett Gilbert. I mean, I'm telling you, UT has always had historically a really good, big offensive line and a solid D line. That's how he built it. That's how he won his chip. So
Matt Brown might actually be generous and might not try to run the score up on him, but I can tell you, Coach Prime is gonna make sure all the lights work on the scoreboard when we go to Miami.
We not on us right now. We want to keep going.
He said that's week 1. He said this is week 0.
What's your score? What's your score? You said you got 41-13. That's not bad, man. 41-13. I'm gonna go 58-7.
I mean,
and I feel like how you get to that is you got, man, listen. I'm gonna just use blue words. I'm gonna put it in a capsule. I'm gonna encapsulate it for you. You got Drake May. That was, I don't know, four-star elite quarterback. You got a first rounder as wide receiver. Okay? You got some hosses that you advantage UNC on the O-line. Okay? Maybe FAMU got them in the running back room, but if they can't open the holes, UNC advantage UNC. Okay, let's go to the D-line. It's a landslide, 3 5-stars. The best DB room probably in the ACC. Probably, arguably. Maybe behind Clemson or Florida State, whoever.
Miami.
I'm just saying. Miami, okay. Okay, I go with that. Because Cristobal doing his thing. But here's all I'm saying to you. Zoe, Blue, that might get ugly.
Whoopi Goldberg ugly.
I ain't
All
gonna
right,
say
man.
nothing.
Look. I'm. Damn it, Ken. You making me change my
The
score.
lowest
I'm
margin was
off.
almost 41. I know that. I know it's a stretch. I know y'all think I'm hate. People gonna be like, man, Ken hate. No,
You
this ain't
killing
got
me.
nothing to do with the
All right.
OBC.
Look. So okay.
This is
Look.
just the football mind in me, and I usually ain't wrong about this stuff. So when I'm looking at this, I always tell you when we finna get monkey stomped, I feel it right here in my chest, and I say, bro, this ain't. I ain't feeling good about this because you know what our weeks where they are questionable. UNC is superb. I don't want to go into no game where I don't know who my quarterback is going up against an NFL caliber DB room.
I'm
And
not gonna
three 5-star
disagree with
chasing my
that.
quarterback down.
I'm not gonna disagree with that. But again, UNC is not gonna be a well-oiled machine. It's the first game of the
That's
season.
fine. That's
So,
fair.
but damn it, I gotta change my score. They got a good kicker, so I'm gonna roll with. I'm gonna say Fam gets one touchdown, but we're gonna get quite a few field goals. So I'm gonna say, damn y'all. I'm gonna say 42-16.
Close to blue score. Close.
I hate
It's
y'all.
close. No, it's fast. It's just
42-16 is what I'm gonna
I
roll
know
with.
it, man. I'm gonna sound like
One
the hater.
touch,
I get it.
one touchdown, and a bunch of field goals.
Let me say it this way: FAMU is going to have to score on special. If they can score on like special teams or like a mistake, then throw my score out the game. But if they have to rely on their offense, and this is all I'm saying to you, the last time FAMU scored in a game was the last game was the Florida Classic.
But let me say this: in true FCS,
And it may
FBS
not have
action,
nothing to do with it. I'm just saying that if the quarterback that I think is going to be starting, I don't mean to cut you off. Please don't come
you
for me.
good.
I'm begging to come in. Don't attack me. Blue, it's different on
But
this side, man. They get attacked
but
on this
look,
shit. Go ahead.
but in true FCS, FBS, gameship, FAMU's got to have a lot to happen for them to be in this game or to possibly win. You're talking about some type of, crazy turnover for a touchdown, fumble for a touchdown, kickoff return for a touchdown, or, I'm saying, a punt return for a touchdown, some outlandish stuff. Being that it's the first game, they're going to have a lot of that go their way. And it's not out of the question because that tends to happen quite a bit when we have an FCS upset against the FBS team. But again, that type of stuff can only happen when first game of the season because it's the first game. But again, I'm saying this thing needs to happen for FAMU to have some success. But guess what? The same thing that's going to happen for them to win, it's going to happen against them to lose too because it's the first game for FAMU as well.
It's a good point. And then you might, if you're dealing with some elements, if you're dealing with like something like rain or something like that, then that could obviously make it can muck it up for you. You kind of hope that. I like one of the comments that Avis said 52-0 halftime. Man, look, it can get ugly. I'm
That
just
dude
saying, I
brutal,
feel like
man.
can we be real about something, Blue? And I'll get your take on this. I just think when you think about a very well coached team, Mac Brown has a championship pedigree. I don't think the game has passed him. You know what I mean? I think he's been able to really relate on a recruiting level to these young folk. And then they wearing that Jumpman logo. They in Chapel Hill. Come on. You know what I'm saying? So UNC football right now, you got UNC Tar Heels, the men's basketball. They should have won a national championship. I'm still mad about that. But I ain't even gonna beat on that.
Blue, say your score one more time, man. People are asking for it in the comments. What's your score again?
41-13 UNC.
So you got 41-13 UNC. UNC. You got 41-13 Blue. Zoe said 42-16. And Ken said 58-7. 50. They putting a whole 50-piece fried with seven different sauces. They finna get mollywopped. I'm telling you, man, this ain't looking good, man.
As the old folks say, $50.
Here's a better question. How much they getting paid?
Let's see. I'll look it up real quick.
They're getting paid good. I thought it was like 600,000. They're getting paid good for this game.
I think it's like 600 or 650.
650. Just come out. Hey, look, FAMU, we gonna get up off y'all because we got to get to this SWAC MEAC challenge. Listen, man, just come out of that thing healthy.
Oh,
Hey, we don't need no bet. How much is it?
it's only 450K.
Oh, wow.
Ooh, you taking the L in the pocket and upside the head. Oops, upside your head. My goodness.
So they got a whole lot shorter
Hold on,
trip to
wait a
go to
minute.
UNC than what A&T got to go in North Dakota State.
Pause. How much you say?
450K.
All right. I'm finna make y'all mad. I gotta go there now. Okay, all right. Yeah, I could. Because Blue, last time you was on here, you said A&T when it took $300K to get monkey
You
stuff
still in
by
my
North
thunder.
Dakota.
You still in my thunder. I was just finna bring it up. You still in my thunder.
But here's what I'm gonna say, though, because this is why when people get mad at us, y'all want to talk about Coach Prime. Y'all say we scared to play North Dakota State. I say, all right, okay, cool, we scared, whatever. Bro, we get $450 to go play Alabama A&M in Mobile. We're gonna be in Mobile getting the same money that them fellas from Tallahassee down there getting punched in the chest for the same amount of money. But I understand it though, because Willie Simmons did address it. He did say that the school can't give that school. So I'm not knocking that. Every school is uniquely different, and I don't want to. I'm not trolling. I am being a little.
It's low. I mean, really and truly, because I mean, when I was at Auburn, we played Alabama A&M and Alabama State, and I know we played Alabama State last year. Auburn played Alabama State $1 million to come play.
See,
wow.
If they cutting the check for the million, we got to stop giving. We got to stop doing this, man. We got to start saying, you know what? If it ain't 750 or higher, don't call me.
So they've gotten $1 million. So Alabama State's gotten $3 million from Auburn in the past, like however many years since I think we've played them 3 times in the past, like 6 or 7, maybe 8 years, and I think they got $1 million each time.
Can we be real about something? You said Alabama State?
Yeah.
Can Alabama State arguably say they got the best facilities in all of the SWAC? Possibly.
Hey, I've driven. It's a 35 to 40 minute drive from Alabama State's campus to Auburn.
Hey man, hey listen, I like somebody I thought Auburn paid $900,000. I don't think it
might have been one. The first article was from Game Day. It said $1 million total, so I don't know.
Man, hey, listen, man. Listen, I understand it, but if you're gonna do that, then I think you got to go get it. And this is what I say. And this is my position. I'm gonna move on from that because Zoe, you looking like a fish over there, man.
Okay, so the last 2 games combined for $1 million. So they signed a 2-game series that totaled $1 million.
Okay, so
which I mean, that's still, yeah. That I mean,
they got new turf.
Yeah,
they got new turf. They upgraded some things at their facilities. I mean, the facilities are amazing at Alabama State. I mean, I can't wait to go to Montgomery this year and get a chance to really
best road game in the conference.
The point is, I mean, I'll say this, and I'm gonna move on from it. Is that I'm happy that we are in a position where we don't have to. We've had to, you know what I mean? Like we got mollywop 55-7 by USM just how many seasons ago was that? So about 4 years ago. We went to USM and got the best thing about that game, Blue, is that the Bloom played Circle of Life from Lion King. That's about the best thing.
Man, you about to run out. You about to run out, man.
In the drumline battle, because USM they were holding their own for a little while. Outside of that, I hated that game. I did. So, but anyway, that's our score. I think we're really gonna be showing some highlights and maybe capturing some coaches' interviews on the next show because I'll have a little bit more time to really put this thing together, and we really gonna come in and add some meat to it and just kind of see. So really, it'll be interesting to see where they finish. All right, enough about FAMU. I told you a 50-piece and Zoe and Blue being generous. I think they're gonna get stuffed, man. They're gonna get stuffed in like a wallet in the back pocket, man. I'm for real. I don't think they got a chance. I really don't. So moving right along. SWAC MEAC Challenge. Are there any other games outside of those only two games I really want to talk about? And then we're gonna segue into our second scrimmage, and we'll touch on some notes on that, and then that'll be the how we gonna do the show. So who wanna go first? Blue, since you the guest again and again, so thank you for graciously coming on. We got Alabama State playing against Howard in the SWAC MEAC Challenge. Right, as of right now, the MEAC stick their chest out when they talk to the SWAC team. They bow up a little bit. They done beat us in the Celebration Bowl. They done won the SWAC MEAC Challenge more than we did, and they feeling real good right now. But I think this is the year that the SWAC makes a change. I think Alabama State. I don't have a score yet. I personally think Alabama State's gonna win this game, but I'll let you kick it off and give you a take on. We'll start with Howard.
Man, I think this game's gonna be a lot closer than you might be thinking. I think Howard is going to surprise some people. Listen, I got my own preview coming out Wednesday, so I won't give you my score. But listen, that they, in my opinion, Howard has the best wide receiving core potentially in the MEAC coming in. They had 2 all-conference selections off that wide receiving, out of that wide receiving core. Casey Hawthorne's a stud, man. Listen, I think he could have a big year, especially if that quarterback Quentin Williams takes a step forward. The running back room's loaded. Eden James comes in, of course, Edrin James' son, who is a stud, and there's a potential he doesn't even start, is how deep that room is. And on the offensive line, they have some monsters. Listen, their offensive tackle who made our all conference MEAC list is 6'8", 325.
Yep.
As a sophomore, and he is athletic, and he can pass block, he can run block, but Howard's defensive line is going to be the X factor. Listen, Darian Brokenberg, in my opinion, and I talked with the guys over from Draft HBCU about this, in my opinion, is the second best run stopping defensive end in the entire HBCU landscape. Him and Sundiata Anderson are the guys when it comes to run defense. He's big, physical, and listen, when he gets you with his hands, and as a former O lineman, I know what it's like. When he gets some hands in your chest and knocks the breath out of you, it changes everything. Because you can see on film, sometimes he hits that O lineman and they don't know what hit him. They're like, oh man, I'd take a deep breath there. And listen, I think this Howard team, talking to the coaches and the players that were at MEAC Media Day one-on-one and a little bit off camera, they feel like this is their time to go out there and prove that Howard isn't the bottom feeders of the MEAC like some people like to think they are. And so I think Howard's going to come in there motivated, man. And they have the talent, in my opinion, to really make a statement this weekend in Atlanta.
I got to tell you, man, I really wrestle with this game. Now I'm going to tell you, I think it's obvious that Howard, at least on paper, has the better team. I legit want to say that I believe that Howard's going to win this game, but I'm going to roll with Alabama State in a very, very close game. I think whoever wins will win by 3 points or less. But the only reason why I'm going to give the nod to Alabama State is because I think this is going to be Davis's coming out game. I think Davis for Alabama State, the legend of him is going. The dude is a high school legend. And I really believe that there's going to be some ebbs and flows where the game is going to be tight. I think it's going to go nip and tuck, kind of go one of those back and forth games because, again, first game of the season, a lot of rust. But again, I think when it comes to just the team, Howard has a better team because, yes, Howard has a really good running back room. They have the more experienced quarterback coming in. Also, we can't underestimate their head coach. You know what I'm saying? I believe Howard has the better coaching staff. Everything on Alabama State is new. And this is Eddie Robinson's first game as a coach, period. So that has to account for something as well. So, but some just telling me, man, that Davis is just going to go bananas running and throwing the ball. And for some odd reason, that's it. Like I said, my head is telling me Howard. But I just feel like Davis is going to go crazy in Atlanta this weekend. And I think he'll do something or pull a rabbit out the hat. And in some crazy way, I believe he'll get Alabama State over the hump. But either way it go, I think the game is going to be decided by 3 points or less. I think it's going to be I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think it's going to be a very close game, though. But I will say this. If the game has a chance to be a blowout in any shape or fashion, Howard will cause a blowout if it is a blowout. But I think it'll be close though.
Okay. I mean, I think the thing that in all honesty, I just think that I think Alabama State's defense is going to be pretty solid. I do feel like them losing the quarterback. What's his name? Brian Nettles. He's at Tuskegee now. Shout out to him. Happy for him that he's going to be in a position where I think he's going to really shine. Tuskegee got a good one, but I do feel like it's going to be some question marks to see what you're going to get from Alabama State. Because I always think X factor is the thing when you don't know. Like there's a fear of the unknown, but I think the pressure is on Howard. Howard's a little bit more. And then they just got that Jordan brand, man. How about that, man? They just got the Jordan. They rocking the logo. I know. I went to Jordan logo on the first game. It might be we might see 2 Jordan teams win. But then again, I just feel like the SWAC. I think if there's ever a time for Alabama State to really make an impact and for Eddie Robinson to really put his stamp on this particular season and really his beginning of his career, I think this is the game that do it. You got coming out the gate, SWAC MEAC Challenge. You're on the you got the could I call it the mothership? I can't really say that now because the Big Ten that came and kicked that water and stole all ESPN thunder. But I think when you really break it down, Bubba's back. I think they picked up some really good transfer portal. I followed them from a transfer portal standpoint. Blue, my edge is based off of what I've seen them bring in. Now, again, it's got to all come together, all under a new coach. And it's easy to say, you know what? Over here, this particular program is a little bit more established. They got these pieces. I think when you don't really have that kind of pressure on you, I think you can go out there and really just play you can play pressure-free football. So I think it's going to come down to a defensive stand. I didn't think that Howard. I felt like Howard was a bottom feeder. You don't think about Howard when you think about the MEAC. Nobody featured them in the MEAC. Nobody said that Howard was going to. We talk about South Carolina State. We talk about North Carolina Central. You get what I'm saying? We talk about Norfolk State. Those are the teams that we're talking about. And then we might get to Howard. You know what I mean? So if I can't see a team that could possibly be what do you have Howard finishing in the MEAC? Fourth or fifth?
Probably about 4th. I think the ceiling could be a little bit higher, but I think right now I'd have them 4th. Norfolk, man, is messing up my predictions. They could be atrocious this year with what they lost, but they also just because of their head coach, they could win it all out of nowhere. So I have no idea where to put Norfolk State.
I got Howard 3rd.
Yeah, I can see that. I think it's South Carolina State, North Carolina Central are probably the easy 1 and 2. And then everybody else has so many question marks, man. They could finish anywhere from 3rd to last. But just to kind of give y'all some perspective, Howard had the 2nd most all-conference selections for me in the conference, right behind South Carolina State. They had 6 players who are all preseason, all conference that are all coming back. Kenny Gallup in the secondary. But for Alabama State, man, Bubba's out from what I heard. I don't know if that's just gamesmanship, but I heard Bubba's going to miss the first few games of the season at linebacker. So
stay hurt.
Yeah, well, he had some issues lingering. I think just that he hasn't been able to come over, hasn't got to practice. But yes, the one thing that's keeping me from just selling out and saying Howard runs away with this one is Davis, man. Listen, he came in when I was a freshman at Auburn, and like you said, he's a legend. Really and truly. I mean, he broke Kyler Murray's record. He's the winningest high school quarterback in Texas high school football history. He did it through the air, did it on the ground, reset records everywhere over at North Shore. I've heard mixed reviews out of camp. I've heard that early in camp, he really struggled with his accuracy. The arm strength is there and the athleticism is there, but just the chemistry between him and the wide receivers and understanding the offense took a little bit of time to come together. But he's the type of quarterback that I tell people all the time, he's someone that might not be the best practice player, but when you put him in a game situation, he's a gamer and he just shows up to play and goes and makes plays. And those guys are dangerous because sometimes they could just have off nights, and we've seen that happen. But at the same time, and those type of kids could produce magical moments for their program. And so I think that's the biggest question mark, man. If he hits the ceiling, Davis, Alabama State is a SWAC championship contender. Is that how good he really is?
But the DB room is special. Go ahead.
But if he doesn't live up to the hype, Alabama State potentially could be a last place team in the division because there is no room for error in this East Division, in my opinion.
No, I actually have, and believe it or not, and this is gonna sound kind of oxymoronic. I actually got Alabama State finishing last in the East.
Not me.
And in this game, I know you don't. I know you don't. But in this game, the strength of Alabama State is going to be their defense. When you have a quarterback, that's a senior quarterback, Quinn Williams, you got a quarterback that can throw the ball. But again, does his throwing get offset by the DB room of Alabama State? And if let's go back to it. For those that may not remember, that DB room gave us fits in the spring. Now in the fall, we only won 28-7. So I mean, I don't think the score really showed. I don't think they really had a quarterback last year. You know what I mean? Their offensive identity was just shot. We know that Coach Hill Ely was a defensive coordinator, basically, being a head coach. But I think when you have the young man that's coming in, I forget his name, and it's the quarterback. You just mentioned him. What's his name?
Demetrius Davis.
Demetrius Davis. So you got a dual threat quarterback, kid that played out of Houston, North Shore, top program in all of Texas. Well, now I ain't gonna say all of Texas. I'm gonna get in trouble for that because I live in Austin, and you got Westlake, you got Lake Travis, and Cedar Park. You got Allen up in Dallas. You got the list goes on and on. But everybody knows that North Shore is not to be played when it comes to high school football in the state of Texas. And he balled out, like you said, he's a legend in his own right. Now, is he still that player? You know what I mean? Does it play in that favor? It's kind of that dual threat. Can he, usually the dual threat quarterbacks they lose some accuracy, but he's an athlete though. He's an athlete. He's that player you can just kind of put him in a position he's gonna make something happen. That's really what a 4-star really is. So I mean, that's gonna be the X factor. And then this is what I'm saying. As far as the Howard defense, Howard don't really know what Davis they're getting. It's kind of got to go out there, wait and see. You see what I'm saying? So when you factor it in, I think Alabama State got the best defense of the two teams. I think if their strength is their defense, then okay, that plays into the favor of this game. So I'm just looking at it on paper from this game and this game only. I ain't going past that. I'm not going beyond that. I'm just saying I think this bodes well for Alabama State, in my opinion. And I think they're going to rally for their coach, man. They believe in their coach, and I really feel like, they got a good chance of pulling it off. At least, or should I say, I'm rooting for the SWAC. I'll say it that way. I'm rooting for Alabama State. Be the only time I root for y'all this year. But I'm gonna roll with the SWAC East folk, and I hope they don't let me down. But that's pretty much what I take away from it. And Zoe Blue, I ain't gonna ask you for your score because I know you got to do your preview. And listen, let me say this too. We got people on the stream. I want y'all to understand something. Me and Zoe just got to this YouTube space. We're the legend right now. Blue, you the legend on the stream. So we don't. Hey, listen, Blue know his stuff, man. And listen, anytime we talk football, hey, he's welcome anytime. So I always want to bring you on because you know why I know? Because you're gonna speak what I know you research. If you don't know, you're gonna go find the answer, and you're not just gonna babble off a whole lot of mumbo jumbo. But I appreciate that, and that's why I always bring you on. So
I appreciate
that's
y'all,
my
man.
take on it, man. That's my take on it. I don't think it's gonna be a blowout. I think it's gonna be, you're gonna see a lot of mistakes. You said 3-point games though? You on mute, bro. I can't hear you.
So I got Alabama State by 3.
I'm gonna say about 3. Okay, that's fair. I don't have a score right now, but I got Alabama State winning this game. I really do.
I think the loser of this game, I don't know how you guys feel about it. When I look at this game, the loser of this game could be in serious trouble throughout the rest of the season. I mean, because Alabama State, I think week 2 goes to UCLA, if I'm not mistaken, right? They got to go all the way to LA.
Yep.
And you start 0-2, and then you still got the entire SWAC schedule with FAMU, Alabama A&M, Jackson State. I mean, the list goes on. And I think Bethune-Cookman, man, is going to be a team that you're probably not going to want to see if that team starts clicking. So
I agree,
man.
Hey, this Canes, who is this Canes football talk? I've been trying not to go there, but I'm gonna give you a little. I'm gonna show you a little love in a minute. Jack Town Jew in the building. But go ahead.
Well,
Go
Blue,
ahead,
I'm gonna
Blue.
tell you, I've hitched my wagon to Demetrius Davis, and I pretty much believe because I believe in Bethune Cookman too. I mean, just looking at them from a historical standpoint, from the past, you got a metric there the past 10 years, and honestly, last year was an anomaly. But there are other factors as to why they had the season that they had. So with that being said, you shouldn't even expect for them to have a losing season. But as crazy as it may sound, I feel like the winner between the Alabama State and Bethune Cookman game, I have the winner of that game finishing third in the conference and third in the East.
Ooh. Now that's an interesting one. I'll give you that because I know it's been known. People who do this know Corey Reed's been on campus, but he just kind of announced that he was there today. But man, when you look at that wide receiving core, because I'm a big Walter Simmons fan. Listen, I love what Jalen's doing, but Walter Simmons has that it factor for me. And I think long term wise, I think he's the better guy to kind of build your offense around. But if they can get a quarterback to get Corey Reed, Kamari Everett the ball, because in my opinion, I've said this on my show, I know y'all probably disagree. I think he's the best tight end in college football, FBS, FCS. I think he's that good.
No, we don't.
Okay, I'm not sure how y'all felt because, like, I know Eric Gilbert is really good.
We said this, man. Kamari Avery is arguably the best tight end. Now I know some people may say Brock Bowers and Georgia and that, but no, Kamari Avery is that dude. Go ahead. I mean, cut you off. Go ahead.
Brock Bowers the truth too, though.
Yeah, I mean, I think in terms of NFL draft prospect too, I think going into the NFL draft, if you actually sit down and evaluate what he brings and where the NFL offenses are leaning toward, he's the perfect combination of what you want in a Darren Waller, Kyle Pitts, someone like that. So I don't see why he can't be one of those guys that you see early second round in terms of his size. He can block and in one-on-one situations, man, he can go up there and get the football.
He's a great value too. That's the main thing. Being that he's at Bethune Cookman, they get him. They don't have, he probably won't go in the first round, but he's a damn good value to get late in the second round. So that's why he has a good chance of actually going. But no, I agree. The dude is a stud. But I also think about having him and Corey Reed on the same side. The thing is just going to come down to what exactly will Bethune Cookman run with Jalen behind center. How they're going to use the offense and how they're going to utilize Kamari Everett. We know that he's their best weapon on offense. But Corey Reed was a huge gift for them. He's going to help them because for Jalen per se, Corey Reed is not a great route runner, but he's a damn good 50-50 ball receiver. That works for a quarterback like Jalen, who doesn't have the greatest accuracy, but then you couple him being on the same side of Kamari Everett. So that's why that's a great get. But I think Bethune Cookman, they have a pretty decent running back room. They have an okay defense. But again, they're going to be better this year. Their history shows it. But again, I just feel like between those two, I know it sounds crazy here, Alabama State, but I'm telling you, I've hitched my wagon to Demetrius Davis. We don't really get that typical athlete like him in the SWAC. And whenever we've gotten that kind of athlete in the SWAC in the past, they do what they do. Devontae Kincaid, Robert Kent, Steve McNair. Every time we've had those kind of freshmen, they go crazy in the SWAC. And you could kind of put Andrew Body there too, because Andrew Body didn't start. So you know what I'm saying? And they do great numbers. And that's why, but the difference is outside of Andrew Body, Alabama State has a better defense. Texas A&M had a putrid defense because, again, if Texas Southern had a better defense, they probably win a couple more games last year. And then, they would have more momentum going into this particular season. But I just feel like the winner between the Alabama State and that Bethune-Cookman game, I got them finishing third.
You got Bethune-Cookman finishing third?
The winner of that game.
Man, I think you need to put down whatever you drinking over there. I don't think they're going to finish third, man.
I tell you what.
But to the point of Kamari Avery, I think he's that player that you could put him on any roster in the country and he's going to do what he do. That's when you know you got something special. But I think I agree with you, Blue. Does Jalen Jones win that starting position at quarterback? Is it the kid out of East Carolina? You know what I mean? Like, that's going to be the thing that's going to determine how far Bethune-Cookman goes. Now, you got to factor in Jalen's, he has on-the-field chemistry, Blue, with Corey Reed because of the spring season. Corey Reed caught quite a few touchdowns from Jalen. So and I'll say this, Jalen had a lot to do with probably why Corey Reed showed up in Daytona in the first place. But Terry Sims, great coach. I don't think Terry Sims is going. I don't think the Bethune-Cookman you saw last year is going to be the same Bethune-Cookman. I got them finishing 4th in front of Valley. I got Alabama State finishing 6th behind Valley. Believe it or not, EA ain't gonna like this one. But I have FAMU finishing 3rd in the East this year. I know.
Hey, when I'm proving right,
have
y'all gonna want what
Alabama
I'm drinking there.
finishing 2nd in the East this year. I'm just saying. I know your comments were. I ain't hating. I'm just giving you my take. If I'm right, I'm right. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. You know.
When I'm proving right, y'all gonna want what I'm drinking.
All right, man. So I said, I like what you said. I don't have a score. I think it'll be a close game for the SWAC MEAC Challenge. But here's what I will say, Blue. Man, I don't really care if I get the scores right or not. In less than 7 days, brother, we get to sit down on a Saturday and watch some HBCU football.
College game day come on Saturday, bro.
I know, man.
I'm so pumped up, man. Oh my goodness!
And look,
in less than 14 days, 13 to be exact, you're gonna see Jack State and FAMU square off again. I hope that weather holds up for the OBC. We was looking at some weather stuff. It rains every day in Miami, so we'll see. Can't stop till.
I got a college game day come on Saturday for the first time, and we got to really get it in because I think this is gonna be Lee Corso last year too.
I apologize though. Whatever you were drinking, you go ahead on and keep drinking what you were drinking. I'm just trying not to get jumped on by the comment section. The comment section brutal, man. I see why the celebrities be like.
Hey, Ken, that's the Zohive.
The Zohive.
Alabama State University football hater. He said, I appreciate you said the trucker. Hey, I'm sorry, brother, but y'all gonna be last in the East. Love you.
Hey, it's all good. You'll learn as this YouTube thing keeps going. Every time you make a prediction, man, you always got to predict someone to lose. So someone's gonna be upset every time.
Yep. So Canes football. Hey, you know what? Y'all played the day before us. So Bethune-Cookman got Miami. Shout out to, Kamari Rogers. I really hoped Kamari Rogers was gonna sign with us, Blue. His dad, Marcus Rogers, the head coach, played tight end for Jackson State, and it's okay. We rooting for him. He's a Mississippian, but if y'all do wrong by my boy, man, we coming to get him. We're gonna bring him on home. So, Canes football. I don't know your name. Hey, you see my face. If you see me, come speak to me. Say I'm the dude on the Canes football talk cat that's from YouTube. So hopefully we'll connect, man. We'll definitely be in. Blue, will you make it to the? What are you gonna make it to? The OBC? Okay.
No, I'll be in Lorman the day before. I'll be at Stephen F. Austin versus Alcorn State.
I can't wait to get your retake on that one, man. Because I know G was
I'm excited.
Cash money smash.
You excited?
Today, man.
Well, you better.
That game's gonna be huge. That's a top 10 team coming to the reservation, man. I mean, I think the Alcorn State fans, just because it's week 1, 2. I mean, I don't see why that stadium's not going to be packed out and loud. You get KJ Kinsler against Xavier Gibson. I'm excited.
Get you some mosquito spray.
Media deal. I'm gonna be real with you, Sadie. I don't have anything on it. I haven't really done a lot of research on it because, like I said, I've been traveling, and that's why I started late. Apologize to my brother Zoe. I know he on that East Coast time, no, I've seen it, but man, here's my take on the TV deal stuff. I feel like we got some really good stewards in the culture that's covering this right now, and that's their lane. Like we're even venturing off a little bit into the deep, into areas that we don't really cover. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know we Jack State pro in and out. If it's JSU, I'm your guy. But we do want to be, in all fairness, we football guys first and foremost. So I think the deal, here's a question I have about the deal. Are all the facts and all the details, is all of that readily available for us to really give it a true assessment? Or are we really trying to make an assessment with misinformation and a lot of incompletes and NAs when it comes to this deal?
Well, I'm going to say this. I'm gonna say this, man. Knowing what I know, when it comes down to it, man, to be honest, we can't harp on innuendo. You know what I'm saying? We can't harp on innuendo, and then we'll go by. Oh, I heard this from so and so about figures. Man, we haven't seen a contract unless there's a contract out and we see it and we see hard figures. It's speculation, man. We can all just give an opinion, and think that okay, we do know what was put out there that we'll have an avenue to get more people looking at it. So really, we could just hang our hat on it. But until we actually see something tangible, we don't know.
Yeah,
I'll
that's why
say
I don't
this.
speak on it. That's why I never speak on it. I'm a football guy. Listen, man, I'll leave the contract. I'll leave the
Man,
contract reading to everyone else. Listen, man, unless it's not if it's happening in between those white lines, y'all can come to my show. If it's outside that, there's other platforms that y'all can go watch, man.
hey,
Not my
hey,
role.
let me say this
Yeah,
now, man. If y'all not subscribed to the Blue Bloods podcast, be sure to go to YouTube and subscribe. Make sure you're watching the content. Hey, look, man. And I'm gonna say this too. Hey, don't skip through the ads. And then you know what I'm talking about. So I'm gonna move right past that. But look,
Blue, I got a question for you, Blue. I've been meaning
hold
to
on.
ask you
I
this.
gotta make sure we say this. Though. Blue, they are telling the truth. I don't know if you've been to the reservation before. Make sure you got some type of backups, power supply, because you're gonna be way back there in the bonus, man. I like Jack Spinks. It's the reservation is a different kind of place. It's gonna be rocking. They got a really good shout out to Alcorn though. Believe it or not,
You're gonna
Zoe,
need a
fun fact about Ken Clark. My first HBCU game was actually an Alcorn game. It wasn't a Jack State game, believe it or not. And
Blue.
I'm
You're
gonna
gonna
just
need a
leave it at that.
handgun for the mosquito.
No, but no, this is what I wanted to say about the contract stuff, and I'll be done with that. Two things can be true at the same time. Here's what I mean. I do feel like the people that are in place are trying to do the best that they can to elevate and level up the conference from a monetary standpoint. And I also do feel like even in trying to do so, you just might. I'm not saying that they're ignorant or whatever the case may be. Sometimes you might leave a little meat on the bone, and there is a possibility that you could undervalue yourself or undersell yourself, and it kind of rears not ugly head, but it rears itself because of the Big Ten deal, which we know there was a lot of stuff going on prior to that historic deal that we just witnessed. But all I'm saying is that I see a lot of commentary. I'm not interested. I really ain't, because I can't really do anything about it, Blue. You know what I mean? What we do with Tiger Talk, shout out to Tiger. I've been having this on there. Make sure you guys subscribe to Tiger Talk with the 1400 Club podcast. Make sure you guys are liking the stream. We got almost 200 in here. I'm not sure what the likes are. We appreciate you guys for tapping in. But make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe if you're not already. But all I'm saying is that can they be doing everything they can to move us in the right direction? Yeah. Can they also leave some meat on the bone and leave room for can they get a little bit more if they might have done something different? That can be true too as well. But if you know someone that's out here in this space that's covering that, then maybe you might want to go into that direction. But I'm gonna be real with you. That's gonna probably be the last I'm gonna talk about the contract. Man, football season. I don't know about you, Blue. Hey, you don't sit next to me if you ain't talking about number football. I don't want to hear it. I'm not interested. If it ain't about the game, it ain't about what's in between them white lines, and don't sit next to me. Don't even talk to me. Matter of fact, I turned my phone off between quarter, from the beginning of the quarter to half. Now I turn it back on around halftime because I let the text messages and the phone call come through. But during the game, leave me the heck alone. I mean that. So, all right, that's all I got on that. All seriousness, bro. I don't trust Byron Allen. Many people play on. Yeah, okay. I mean, hey man,
Move on.
see where they go. You thought I was gonna touch the money stuff. Nah, man. Only contract Ken worried about is that contract with my full government name on it. See, I don't know my government name. I'm gonna leave that out. But listen, I don't know enough to. Y'all know me. I ain't gonna put my mouth on something that I don't know. I'm like Blue. If I ain't done my research and I don't know the full details, I'm not touching that. Now, if that comes out and it's readily available and there is an article, I will go read it. and I will dissect it and see what we can come from that. But as of right now, I just don't have enough to give you any meat to it. You probably know more about it than I do.
So,
All
Zoe,
right.
what was that question, man? I know you're about to
Go ahead.
drop that
My bad.
question. I gotta.
No, I was going to ask you, your partner Brandon, huge Southern fan.
Yep.
We never got a reaction after the Jack State game last year. He got ghosts.
Yeah. That listen, man. He has some stuff. He has to step away from the show, man. I still talk to him every day. He's coming with me actually. So I talked to him. He's coming with me to Jackson for the Jackson Southern game this year.
Yeah, all
He's
right.
gonna be with me, and he's gonna be with me at the Alcorn Southern game in Baton Rouge, man. So you'll see an appearance from him. I'll have to get him with y'all when we get into Jackson, man, because he was at the Alabama A&M Jackson State with me game last year, and he didn't really have a dog in the fight, but he left that game being like, oh, that was tough. He was like, that was he said in his words, he was like, that might have been the biggest ass whooping I've seen in person in a long time.
Hey, Thad, you keep that to yourself, man. You put that. If somebody called me by my name, then I'm gonna know you told them. All
Yeah,
right,
I just
man.
remember he was a Southern fan.
Oh yeah.
So here's the last part of this thing we're gonna get into is I know you and Kobe did a fire.
Yeah, it was a good show, man. Shout out to Kobe, man.
Shout out to
That's
Kobe,
my
man.
guy.
CFL. Y'all did y'all thing, man. That was good stuff. And you know, I got to doff my hat out to you guys because, like I said, I checked it out and I was like, that's pretty good stuff, man. But we had another scrimmage, man. We just had another scrimmage this past weekend. Oh man, you know, a lot of questions came from that. A lot of questions, a lot of things were answered. But Zoe, I'm gonna let you kick this one off, bro. I feel like I've been talking a lot, so I'm gonna let you go ahead on and kick this one off, man. Give me your take. I wish the big Aristotle would. We're not gonna let him come on the stream and give y'all because he was physically there. We gotta
Yeah,
say
exactly.
something. We gotta say that for Tiger Talk. Y'all gotta go to Tiger Talk for that, man. But come on, Zoe. Give me your initial reaction.
Well, the main thing that stood out over everything with this particular scrimmage was just we really, really showed versatility. You know, I've been on record for, you know, the longest letting everybody know, like, Jackson State wide receiver room is one of the best in the country. And the thing that really highlighted to me was, again, the versatility and just the sheer number of weapons and the amount and the various ways that they'll actually be utilized. Because, you know, we went down to, like we even mentioned, you talk about Caleb Jolivet, you know, someone who we rarely even mention, and then breaking out on a long, you know, little screen out and house it 80-something yards. I mean, and the guys really, really got off. But everybody saw the highlights, but what everybody didn't see was, you know, Joker getting 2 interceptions, you know, the pass breakups, you know, even Herman Smith getting an interception, and Herman Smith showing his versatility. Because, again, you know, we showed that Herman, huh?
No, I said Herman Smith balling. Go ahead.
Yeah, because, you know, Herman Smith, again, was as a freshman, you know, played both corner spots and played at safety too last year. Coming in as a sophomore, Herman isn't starting, but he's going to get a lot of burn. You know, you talk about, you know, Quay Davis showing up, Caleb Jolivet, like I mentioned earlier, JD getting 2 touchdowns, Savion, who we pretty much feel like Coach Prime is giving a nod, letting him know that he's probably going to end up starting. You know, then you look
Don't steal my thunder, man. I'm gonna cut your ass off. Don't steal my thunder.
Look. Then,
Don't
you
steal
know, on
my
top
thunder,
of that,
dog.
man, you know,
Dude, I'm going in.
and
I'm gonna have a full Savion segment because I told you about a running back. Y'all just gonna have to fuss and say Ken got rude. I don't care. Zoe, don't steal my thunder, man. Go on
and actually, on top of that, man, you know, we got to talk about Jency, man, because Jency, you know, bounced back from that first scrimmage to, you know, to come back and perform the way he did in this second scrimmage. You know, then you talk about who am I forgetting? You know, Shane Hooks didn't do as much. Cam didn't do as much as he did the first one. But again, man, the receivers are so deep. You know, Norman got in with some long passes. JP, got in and balled out. But again, you know, Gaddy looked pretty good. The only person that we really had mentioned to get any highlights or anything on was Doyle, because, you know, we missed that first scrimmage. But just the versatility, man, just the sheer number of weapons that we got. That was the main thing that was highlighted to me. I know people may look at the offensive output and think, well, the defense didn't look really good, but the defense dominated the first one. Offense came back with the second one, and that's the back and forth balance that you want to see between one scrimmage and the second one.
Good stuff. Good stuff. I'll give my quick take. Biggest thing, the key takeaway for me was I think that the emphasis was looking for a QB2. That was one of the big things that the coaches were looking for. And this is the thing that, and maybe you can put some, put a little bit more on this statement here. When you have a new offensive coordinator and you're looking to you take a QB1 out of the lineup. He didn't scrimmage. And then your backups look good. That's a sign, I guess a really good defense too. Let me say it that way. That's a sign that one of the things I think we took away from, I thought the offense won because of the strategic play calling and the ability of the offensive coordinator to put the defense in some funky situations. Everybody wasn't playing like everybody was, all the starters weren't readily available. Of course, Travis would be. For those that keep asking about Travis, you're gonna see 12 in the uniform. You're gonna see him. What's today? Today Monday, right? You're gonna see him. Yeah. Just wait. Just people think. See, this is what has happened with social media now. People think that if they don't see him on the video, then he ain't there. You get what I'm saying? There's only so many players you can show within a very small frame, but trust me. And I'm not going to say it on this, but I also know why you haven't seen Travis. It's been very intentional. The coaching staff is very intentional about what they're doing. He's fine. Somebody asked me today, where's Malachi? I'm like, where have you been? But I'm going to just leave that alone. Everybody's there. Everybody, we got a full injury report. I'm not going to disclose that, but we'll just say the coaches feel really good getting ready to game plan for FAMU. Now, players that stuck out, the player I really wanted to hone in on because I felt like from what I got from the report, Mr. Savion Wilkerson. I was curious to see was Mr. Savion Wilkerson going to show himself to be the Savion Wilkerson that we all seen last year. And to see this young man get an opportunity and really like champion that opportunity, and when his number was called, he has done nothing more than be more Mr. Consistency, continue to show why, they made a way for him to come out there. And let's just say, I'll say this. Coach Prime was very well pleased with what he saw in Mr. Wilkerson from this scrimmage. And can't say if he gets the nod, we still got, it changes from day to day. Jack State's starting lineup is like the roster, you know what I mean? So I just know that I like what I saw in him. Wide receiver room, we already covered that. We don't really have to waste a whole lot of time on that. One thing I will say though is the amount of speed. We got a lot of speed at wide receiver, man. And I just think we're gonna make some. We're gonna give some fits to the teams that did not address their defensive backfield. The Alabama A&M who brought in 13 DBs, did they address it? You know what I mean? It's Southern DBs that they brought over from Bowie. You get what I'm saying? Did they address what they needed to address? We talked about Ershad Davis at Alabama State. We got a lot of teams in the conference. Grambling has got some good DBs, but I don't think that they're gonna have enough to tend to the amount of firepower you're seeing all the way down to like the fourth string when it comes to the wide receiver core. That's critical. The thing I do like about Travis not being out there zone in blue is the fact that you got these other DBs that are getting a lot of reps. It's getting a lot of reps. And this is what I think you're going to see happening when we do play this year. I think you're going to see some quarterbacks going to test Travis early to see if he really like that. And when he show himself to be that thing that we know he to be, then I think you're going to start seeing them kind of go in other directions. So you really need your DBs to be seasoned and ready to deal with whatever. The linebackers did very well, but I don't think that the defense played bad, though, in blue. I think just what you saw is you just saw a lot of firepower, man. We real rack boys. Shout out to EA on this thing. EA, you wish y'all had we the rack, y'all the rack 2.0. We the real rack boys over here. We ain't gonna steal your name. But I'm telling you right now, man, y'all better make sure y'all DBs come out that game looking pretty sharp when you play UNC, because y'all gonna get hit with I'm telling you're gonna get hit with some when we come to Miami. But last thing I want to take away from that, and what I'm really extremely happy about from the scrimmage, is the special teams. And that's something that has been a big Achilles heel for us. Man, I feel so good knowing what I know who was there and what they've seen, knowing that we got two really good kickers that are extremely accurate, and it's been a long time. Now, we say Christian Jockman, Christian was
Yeah, but he was
probably
just one. Yeah, he was just one kicker though.
yeah, he was just one. To have two kickers that can kick that thing from far and accurate, it says a lot to it. And then let me say this too, last but not least, the offensive line did their thing. So shout out to them boys. Got a special treat for y'all coming up on Tiger Talk with the 1400 Club. I can't say what it is, but when y'all see it, y'all gonna appreciate that. But hey man, a hell of a scrimmage. That team is extremely fast. A lot of people say, "Well, man, the defense got dominated." I wouldn't say that. The defense won its battles, but I would say the offense just shine. They shine. Shout out to Grayson Thompson, man. Grayson had a great scrimmage.
Yeah, he did.
Number 12 on offense had a phenomenal scrimmage. JP had a great scrimmage. Norman even putting that thing out there. So I'm curious to see who's gonna win that QB2 because if I had to go out on a limb, I'm gonna roll with JP. But Grayson got me saying, ooh, I didn't expect Grayson to put Grayson was looking like the Grayson we saw when we saw the North Texas highlights and high school highlights when we felt like, okay, this is a solid kid. Is it the offense or what is it? So that's my takeaway. Like I said, it's kind of a diet version of what we got, but some of it, Blue. I'm like you. I gotta say some of it for the show. Man. I can't give these folks everything. They might not tune in if I tell them everything. Anywho, you'll go, Blue. What you got?
My guy texted me after the two scrimmages, and he said, "What quote? What I saw today ain't even fair for the rest of the SWAC." Just left it at that. That's what my guy texted me after everything. And one of the players that the main one he brought up, like you said, Savion. And I've told him before. I said when he transferred in, I said, listen, don't sleep on him. He might not be flashy, but he's gonna get the job done. And he was like, listen, he's different out there. So he's been my pick since he committed to be the starting running back. I still think even if he doesn't start early, by week 4, 5, 6, he's going to establish himself as the guy, especially because he can do it in the pass game too. I mentioned that on the Jackson State preview. So for me, I think Savion's the guy for running back one just because of his upside. I think no disrespect to the other running backs, Santee, JD, whoever, but I think the upside with Savion is a lot higher than some of the other running backs in that room right now.
Let me say this. I want to address Teddy the Trucker. Teddy said the Trucker. All right. What you're witnessing, brother, is dogmatism. That's probably a better word for it. It ain't cocky because it ain't me doing it. I got to rely on them to go do it because I can look like a plum dadgum fool if we go out there and lay an egg like we did in Celebration Bowl. It wasn't fit. Didn't feel good, Blue. I'm happy to get the season started because I've been sitting on that all freaking off season, and finally we get to watch the football and hopefully we can go redeem ourselves, right? But confidence, I just got, I got faith and confidence in the staff and this team that we seeing, man. We're seeing it from a different vantage point, and even we've said, Blue, this is different, man. Love your point on Savion, man. I'm telling you, I really like the kid, and man, I love the way they're using. They found a way to use Caleb Jolivet. This kid is a track star. He was the fastest person in Texas when he was coming out of high school.
Fastest player in Texas.
And to see this young man get the chance to utilize his skill set and the coaching staff, figure out creative ways to get him the ball. First scrimmage, he broke one to the house from a kick return. This particular time, he caught a misdirection. I forgot the terminology for
it. Was a swing pass. It was a little swing pass.
Swing pass, but they went kind of the opposite direction and they reversed it, a reverse screen pass. So and then he just took off. At that point, he just became a blur. So now I know I know we have fun with it, man. But when we get to talking I'm confident, man. I'm confident in this team, man. I'm confident in this team, man. So, but no, I ain't cocky, man, because I ain't doing it. Cocky is more personal. Hell, I can't make nothing shake. I can't even run from end zone to end zone without passing out before I get to the other side. So here's a good question. Say, why do I not like finesse running back? It ain't that I don't like finesse running back. You got to keep in mind, my favorite running backs was Christian Okoye and Mike Allstott. So I come from a world of big bruisers. I fell in love with big countries. Oh, number 41 from Jackson State. I like the big boys, man. I was a big kid coming up, Blue. I had to play center. I didn't want to play center. Center wasn't sexy. You see what I'm saying? I wanted to get the ball and run that thing. So I moved to fullback, so and then I put on number 44. And then I saw All-Star, I switched to 40. You get what I'm saying? So I just prefer, the bigger backs. It's just a preference thing. I'm not a I love Bo Jackson. I loved let me see who else was out there. Not to Emmitt Smith was cool, but I wasn't the biggest Emmitt Smith guy. He was he was the GOAT. But if I had my preference right now, I'm gonna go with
You like AD.
the big guys. Who?
You like AD.
Who that? Who the hell is AD?
Hey, that's AP, Adrian Peters.
Oh, AP. Oh no, I know you said AD. I was like, he drew me for a loop. Now, believe it or not, man. I mean, yeah, AP cool, but I just prefer bigger backs. It's just to me, it was. I'll give you one last thing. I was a bigger fan of Ricky Williams than I was Reggie Bush, but let me take it more to USC. I was more of a
Lindell
White fan. Reggie Bush don't get me wrong, Reggie Bush was that dude. But when you get to that next level and you run into these big boys, you need somebody that can absorb some contact and actually go through them and apply some pressure. And I feel like Savion is the running back. And please, man, I hope don't nobody take it and feel like I'm just it's just a personal preference. Because I know I have a personal relationship with the players. I love 38 Special. I love JD Martin, Tyson. I love you, bro. I love all of them. But if I had to choose a preference, I'm gonna go more of a bigger style because that's just how I roll.
As an offensive lineman, I will say the bigger backs are a lot more offensive line friendly because I know you said you played center for a while. I don't think so. I don't think you've ever played some O line, but nothing is more frustrating. Oh, you did? Okay. There's nothing's more frustrating than when you get a good block and all the D lineman does is grab the running back by the jersey and pull him down. You're like, dude, you couldn't have broken an arm tackle, like making me look bad out here. I had him 15 yards this way. He grabs you when you fall. Man, it's the most frustrating thing of all time, man.
Oh my gosh, man. Listen, go ahead.
I'm gonna tell you, I did Pee Wee ball.
I'm not gonna get in trouble. I'm not gonna get in trouble, man, because there was so many times last season that I was blue. I wanted to take my hat and chuck it on the field, man. Because I can tell you one game right now, though, that I feel matter of fact, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna do it. Let's roll.
Oh Lord, wow.
Let's do it. Come on. Now I'm gonna tell you what game it was. It was the Celebration Bowl. You get what I'm saying? It was 3rd and 1. And it was before the game got out of hand, bro. The hole was right there. But we do this little dancing thing. We don't just hit the hole. And basically we got no yards. And then and remember, go back and look at it. We went for it. And Shador got stopped. And that turnover on downs, it literally swung the whole momentum of it. That was the beginning of the end for us because we finally got into right at the nose of the red zone on our side of the field, and we couldn't get 1 yard, man. I like the running backs that when you hit them, they get 1 extra yard, Blue, because they fall forward. I don't like the running backs that you can just let me just shut up. I'm gonna do trouble. Destry Wright was one of my favorite running backs to ever play at Jackson State, by the way. He's one of the favorites. But I like the big boys, man. That's just my personal preference. So, hey, man, I think it's gonna be. I think we got one more scrimmage on this Saturday. I don't know if it'll be open, so maybe you.
It'll be
I think we got
closed.
one more good one. I think it's gonna be early, and then we're gonna all sit down and we're gonna watch FAMU go represent the SWAC now, and all funny games aside. Fam, I'm rooting for Fam. Like I said, I really hope they go out there and put up a really good showing. I really do. I just don't think they're gonna be able to beat them. I don't even think it's gonna be close. But EA, sorry about that, bro. But anywho, safety said Wilkinson was hitting the hole Saturday. He ain't scared to go up in there. Hey man, Wilkinson, he don't waste no time, bro. Blue, I love his highlights. I mean, when last time we had? Here's a better question. When last time we had a running back that put up 800 yards off the ground?
Raheem Sims.
I was about to say Raheem Sims. That year was 20. Was that 2013? Went to the SWAC
2013.
championship. Was that 2012?
2013.
So 12 in 2013, Blue, we had two really good running backs. Tommy Gooden, Raheem Sims. Raheem Sims, one of my favorite running backs. He was a big bruiser there. Tommy Gooden was more that finesse style, but he had some size to him. Tommy Gooden was the young man that caught the ball out of bounds, 1 foot in, 1 foot out of bounds in the SWAC championship game, double overtime, that made Ken cry. Yeah, he made me cry, man.
I went back and watched that game. So I forgot who. Someone reached out to me and told me to go. They sent me like a YouTube link or something. I got to watch that whole game. And listen, I would have probably still been sitting at that stadium staring at the field after that, man. That's brutal.
I had my old lady with me. We had a suite in the NRG. I'm setting it up, man. And you know, it's overtime. First of all, we should never win overtime, though. And I get in trouble, man, because I'm telling
not trying to relive none of this.
You saw that game, right? We was in the red zone. There was no, how did we get a first down in the red zone? We was inside the 20, and we went backwards every single play. And we went for a field goal. Did we get the field goal, Zoe? No. we come away with nothing. So that's how they wound up tying the game up. We go into overtime. They score, we score. They score. It's our ball.
I don't talk about losses.
that game traumatized me. Matter of fact, this is what I want, Blue. I want us to beat Southern by 20 this year in the first game, and then I want to play them again in the SWAC championship, and I want to beat them by 13 specifically because I want to redeem 2013 just that bad. I want to beat them twice in the same year. Oh man, that was the worst game ever. I laid my head down on the thing for like 15 minutes, bro. I couldn't even. I was sick. I was sick.
Yeah, I would have never. I would, because I haven't got to experience any close losses as like a fan. The worst game I think I was at was in Baton Rouge, man. That was that Leonard Fournette game where he ran for almost 300 yards on Auburn, and I was there. It was like 900 degrees, and I was around a bunch of drunk LSU fans. I remember I was just throwing up, but. I gotta ask y'all a question, man. I had Kobe on again today. I had him and Tuck on to do the South Carolina State preview, and one of the subscribers asked them, was it Celebration Bowl or bust for them? And they both said yes for South Carolina State. And do you guys think it's the same for JSU? Is it Celebration Bowl or bust for JSU this year?
Most definitely.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, the goal right now, period. The goal right now, period, is there are two parts. Win the SWAC, win the Celebration Bowl. Period.
The only way that's not a bust, Blue, is if somehow we get the same route that FAMU got last year and we win games. We have to win games, though. That's the only way it'll be tolerable. Like if we finish the season, let's say we don't go 13-0, but we go 15-1. You see what I'm saying? Like I've asked that question. Now, granted, do I really want to do that? Do I want to see football extend into the winter months? Somebody asked me a question on here. Will I see a MEAC versus a MEAC game? It'll be on TV because I plan on attending. I'll be going to 10 Jackson State games this year, not including the SWAC championship or the Celebration Bowl. The only game that I will not be attending is the Tennessee State game because I have to be somewhere that weekend. But outside of that, I've let everybody that knows leave me the hell alone every weekend that Jackson State playing for the rest of the year. So I done gave myself commitments to everything. Even though we playing on TV, I just feel like we're living, Blue, and I'm being real when I say this. I don't have my blue and white glasses on. I really feel like we're living a 30 for 30 moment in Jackson State history, and I don't feel like we'll ever get this moment again. I don't feel like my kids I don't think we'll ever see anything like this ever again, man. So I just think that yeah, man, I do feel like so I guess I would say no. It's not a Celebration Bowl or bust. It's Celebration Bowl, or you better get to the FCS playoffs and win like multiple games. That's the only thing that'll salvage that. But I do feel like if FAMU beats us and wins the Celebration Bowl, they will be heralded much more than we were for the success we had. Now, granted, we didn't win the Celebration Bowl, but even if we do win the Celebration Bowl, I don't feel like people will really appreciate that more, because I think people want the expectation for Jackson State is just a little bit more than the Celebration Bowl. So I think there's going to be a lot of like football, like especially FCS, the Sam Hurdles of the world. They're gonna be chomping at the bits. You know what I'm saying? Like, imagine if you get that saying, is it Southeast Louisiana? We don't know. Is it McNeese State? We don't know. We don't know. Would it be it'll be somebody regionally close if we go to the FCS playoffs. But if Jackson State goes to the FCS playoffs and win a game, that's going to be monumental, because how long has it been since the HBCU been to the FCS playoffs and actually won a game?
I gotta tell you, Blue.
I don't think it's happened.
I think it's Celebration Bowl or bust, but also it's going to add that much more to it if we get South Carolina State again, because again, if we go to that game, we win, we open up the season Labor Day weekend next year against South Carolina State, and then you have that, and then you have that trifecta. That only adds to it. So that's why I'm like, and also being that it's a repeat from last year's game, I think that's going to add to this current game. The attendance will be better, more eyes will be on it. Plus, if South Carolina State goes back, they'll have a better record. So that's going to add to the intrigue of that game. So that's why, to me, it is, that a bust. Because now we have the ability to right or wrong, take a power from a lot of other people, and then you go into, now you got a rubber match starting the beginning of the season. So.
Yeah, because I mean, the SWAC has never won a playoff game. I know it was, I think A&T won one sometimes in the 2000, FAMU won one in like the late 90s. And I think those are the only two, if I'm not mistaken. But the SWAC is like 0-20 in the playoffs right now. So they'd be the first ever SWAC win in the FCS playoffs.
Hey man,
I'll talk about losses.
Fam, you did check your record. No, I was meaning more like they might be talking in the chat, but I was saying like it has been a very long time that we've seen anything like that. What if JSU go to the FCS playoffs and win? Man, let me tell you something. If JSU go to the FCS playoff and get to the SWAC team, and we get to Frisco, hey man.
Listen, y'all thought Twitter was shut down over some like crazy stuff. Listen, if it happens to be NDSU, Jackson State, the Natty, might as well just delete Twitter off your phone, because it is not even going to open the whole week of that game. Because that's crazy.
Would that be the first sellout in FCS championship history?
Oh no, they sell it out every year because it's a small stadium. They sell it out every year.
They play at Frisco. They play at Frisco at the soccer stadium, but no, North Dakota State travels well to Dallas.
If something like that happened, do you move that game to Jerry World? Frisco ain't but down the street.
They got a contract. They won't unless they got to buy it out or something. But they're going to move it. I think it's up in like 2025. And man, the FCS conference commissioners are chomping at the bit to move that game. They hate Frisco, man. They did the thing where they signed a way too long contract, and now they're really regretting it.
Yeah, we would crack Frisco out. Now, don't get me wrong, man. I love football. I love to see football. I think the thing about losing in the Celebration Bowl, I'm gonna be real with you. I really wish there was a way that we could like have a Celebration Bowl and still get a chance to like go to the playoffs. Because again, the playoffs is kind of like that extra. You get them extra games, and we love playoff football, especially in the NFL. Yeah, we love playoff anything in every sport. I don't know who follows baseball, but man, when October rolls around and it gets crunch time, man, hey, I'm everybody locked in the winter months of baseball. You know what I mean? NHL, you don't even have to watch hockey. But guess what? When they start battling for that Stanley Cup, everybody started tuning in because that is more intense. So I understand the desire, the competitive appetite of wanting to see the HBC, how well the HBC, because this is really all a lot of people are doing. They're saying, man, are they really that good? Let's see them up against. But let me ask you, Blue, I got a question for you, because this goes back to like the North Dakota State conversation. that game ain't happening no time soon. And even if it did happen, it'd probably be 2025, 2027. Shit, I don't know. What if we go beat Tennessee? We play Texas State next year. We do what we do this year. Is that still not an extremely impressive win to win against Texas State? You follow what I'm saying? Because that is an FBS.
It'll depend on
program.
this year. It'll depend on this
Depends
year.
on what they do. So Zoe, you feel like if they go 1-11 this year and we beat them next year, it's not going to be very impressive.
Well, initially the perception won't just be there. You know what I'm saying? That's why I say it depends on what they do this year. Because they could be sorry. I'm gonna give you that because it's just perception. Because again, they could be 1-10 this year and still have a damn good team next year. It's just a perceived perception to begin the season. So if they're an FBS program, so they're already going to put them over here because of the scholarship limitations that we have. But let's just say Texas State this year, and they're in the let's say they go 8-4, right, or 8-3, and go to a bowl game. Let's say they win or lose, but they were 8-3, or say 7-4. They're still an FBS 7-4. So going into it, and then they're 7-4, and they have a lot of returning starters coming back. Then the perception will be, hey, they were good. They got a lot of starters coming back. They should be equal to what they did the previous season, or be a little bit better. So it's just a perception of it. And so now add to the fact that we go in, we may be an underdog, but they won't expect the game to be a beatdown because of what we have coming back. Because as you know, we have a young team. But the thing is, it'll be okay. Well, that'll be a good matchup. Jackson State may have a slight chance to win the game, or it'll be competitive. But if they're like ULM, for example, they come in and they're winless or they only won one game, then the perception will be, oh yeah, Jackson State has this great roster. They won a Celebration Bowl last year. Yeah, Jackson State should probably easily win that game. When you and I both know it won't be easy. You see what I'm saying? So that's the only thing. That's the only thing.
The thing with it is it's going to be a big win because of the ramifications of the win, because the SWAC has not won an FBS game, really. I think it was 84 with Grambling beating Oregon
over
State.
Temple.
Or yeah,
Temple's the last win.
Yeah, I mean, because Grambling won a few back in the day. So it's 84, dude. Like that was 12 years before I was alive.
Whoa, I was 2.
Yeah, 1984, man. So that would be huge.
And Zoe was like 13.
Hey, hold on. Time out, dog. Come on.
Oh man, but I mean, it would just be a big win just because of that, and because you could say the Texas State isn't good. You could say whatever you want to say, but the fact of the matter is the SWAC isn't winning those games in the past however many years. So it's a big win. And Texas State last year beat Incarnate Word, who was a playoff team, by 8, I think. This year they play Houston Baptist, who is atrocious. They should beat Houston Baptist, to say the least. And someone asked me on my show, what game this year do you think the SWAC wins against an FBS school? I said, I don't think there is one. I think the best chance is next season, Jackson State, Texas State. I think Jackson State going into that game has an absolute great chance to win that game. And really and truly, besides all the scholarships and everything, I expect Jackson State to win that game. That's a game that I think is not a typical money game. It's the same thing. I expect North Dakota State to go beat Arizona this year. That's non-negotiable. If you lose that game,
when is that game?
Week 3.
Okay.
They play them the week after they play A&T.
Do they only have one FBS game, North Dakota State?
Yeah, they play. They have one.
Okay.
Arizona right now, and then they play like Colorado. I think in the coming years they play Utah. I think, or no, Utah.
Iowa wants no parts of North Dakota State anymore.
No. Iowa plays South Dakota State week 1, and that's a game that if they don't come out ready, South Dakota State is a team that
could be competitive.
Yeah, I mean, they beat a FBS school who was pretty good in Colorado State last year by like 20 week 1 last year.
Yeah, they did that. Yeah,
they went out there and smacked them. But
listen, Colorado State looked like the FCS school for real.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I think Jackson State going into that game against Texas State is going to be in the same position where people are going to be expecting Jackson State to win that game. And it's going to be a really weird dynamic to see the lead up into that game.
What is the ticket sales for JSU for the OVC? It's moving slow, man. We looked at it today. I don't think
We talked
Believe
about
it or
it
not,
today.
I think some people are gonna start to. I think people starting to look at that weather situation, and I'll be there. I don't know about nothing else, but
With
hurricane
bells
season at the
on.
same time every year. It's gonna probably rain. Make sure you bring your poncho if you're going, but we'll see. I think some people are just feeling like the. See, here's what happened in Miami. Last year, OBC happened, and we kind of caught some of them Airbnbers and hotelers, caught them slipping because they wasn't familiar. They wasn't sure. I probably had been a minute since they had that. So now the word got out and they jacked the prices up. So
Yeah.
lodging is extremely expensive. The teams are going to probably get there a day later than what they did last year to kind of cut costs. But I think we still going to show up and have a good showing. I would like to see a big crowd because I think that's going to be probably one of the most watched HBCU games of the year.
The most.
Yeah. But yeah, man, we'll see how that play out. As far as this question right here, we actually got a show coming on that. So we're gonna bring a show to you guys. It's gonna address all those questions. You guys gonna really like a lot of that. So Jez, you should play Vanderbilt, Troy, ULL, or USM. I mean, yeah, I mean, it sounds good. I mean, I don't mind it. We tried to get the USM game. He said Mr. King can't handle this big question. What are you talking about, man?
I think he was talking about. I think he was talking about South Carolina. He was. I think above. He was talking about South Carolina State will play anyone anywhere. So like, why won't Jackson State?
Oh no, we play anyone anywhere. We just would rather play them in Jackson so we can get the bag. Some things ain't always about emotions. It's about business. Football is a business, and I don't think anybody should, feel like Jack State is doing anything wrong. Like you gotta keep in mind, Blue. Like, not saying you don't know this. Not this ain't directed at you. I mean, a lot of people don't think about this, Blue, when they think about HBCU programs. Like our football program funds our whole freaking athletic department. So we have to make decisions that's going to be advantageous for us from a money standpoint. And fortunately for us, we play in a facility that allows us to maximize the amount of seats. If everybody wants to see Jackson State play North Dakota State, then Jackson State absolutely can say, if you want to play, come to Jackson. We're not coming to Fargo. And they might say,
or neutral site.
no, we won't go. They might say, we ain't doing that. And we might say, all right, cool. That's our turn. And they might just say, but here's the beauty of North Dakota State situation. North Dakota State ain't hurt for no money. They sitting fat. They nice. It's some oil up there in that area too. It's a lot of money up there. I'm just saying, like, they not hurting for no money, man. So I don't feel like
they're the flagship school of their state.
Yeah.
So
but here's all I'm saying.
it's apples and oranges.
It's not above reason to say, hey, bro, you got more money than I got. I ain't got it like you got it. I got a big old edifice, so I got a big old spot for you, man. You want to play? Y'all ready to come on to Jacktown and let us get the full gate, man. We help us out. I do feel like that'll be a sellout. I think everybody named Mama would come to that game. Oh my goodness. So why would we?
Well, I'll say this. One thing that's going to add to that game, though, Ken, is the fact of, like, even us having this conversation now, even, over the past month, the conversation has been had. So that actually helps the game when and if it actually happens, because I can tell you right now, the moment if that game is scheduled and it's announced, Twitter's going to go crazy. The fact, whether it's in Jackson or whether it's a neutral site game, the moment it's announced, it's going to go crazy. And to and to add to Blue's point, again, hypothetically speaking, if we were to go to the playoffs and just say Jackson State were to win 2 games and we're able to meet them, even if it's in the second round of playoffs or the championship game, if Jackson State were to meet North Dakota State in the championship game, I guarantee you this is going to sound crazy, but that game will outdraw on viewers. I mean, tons of Power 5, New Year's Day games viewership. Oh, yeah. Seriously,
man. Let me tell you something. You know what would be dope? Hey, Blue, I'm gonna let you go, but this is kind of a fun idea. What would be dope is that if some kind of way we could get like a bowl where that would be allowed, where if they wanted to like feature some marquee games later on in the season, maybe they had a slot to where they can maybe get a game like that and they pay us big money. Like at this point, we're always talking about contracts. I don't understand why if we're gonna have that contract talk, then why do we pump the brakes when Jack State starts saying, well, this is a money decision? So you can't be serious about the money on one side and then turn a blind eye to it on the other side because it fits a narrative. Like, I don't really care. The narratives were rocking during the summer. To hell with the narratives. It's football time. It's time to put the pads on. Nobody care about all that stuff right now. Because guess what? Whether it's on HBCU Go or whether it's on ESPN, it's on CBS. When we lace them up, you're gonna tune in and we're gonna be talking football. Because in a minute, ain't none of that stuff gonna matter. Ain't nobody gonna be worried about no contracts about 1 week from now. For real. Now the only reason why we have an issue is if we couldn't watch the games. Ain't nobody gonna be crying about being able to watch the games this year and getting all the content. Now we can make changes and do good business later on, but I got something in my head and I'll just throw it out there. You know who I would try to get a game from if we would take a game because we know they got the money zone, and I ain't saying this would ever happen. We've never seen it take place. I don't know if I've never seen it in my life. Why don't we play Ole Miss? I know Scotty asked Lane Kiffin that question. They got a big old bag up there in Oxford. We ain't even got to leave the state. If you want to help us, if you're gonna cut the check, that's a $2 million. I want $2 million. They're gonna say, man, you crazy for asking folks that much money. If you want to play us, it ain't gonna hurt them. 1.5.
They're not gonna give you 2. They won't give you 2. I'm just gonna be.
Man, they're not gonna give them. Man, old Piss ain't gonna give 200,000. They're not playing Jackson State.
They're not playing us. They ain't gonna play us. They not. But go ahead, Blue, to that question. I mean to steal your thunder.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I mean, because I think someone even said if that game somehow happened in the regular season, I mean, College Game Day, I don't know if you guys remember, went to Fargo for North Dakota State, Delaware State. Listen, if it falls on a week where there's not a lot of strong P5 games, like there's not a marquee game, that's a College Game Day type of game where they're going to go to whatever neutral site, go to Jackson, go to wherever. But listen, that would be amazing. But like you said, man, it's all about money, contracts. I think what happened was the question came out, the answer came out, and the narrative just kind of overtook what was like actually said, and it really blew up there for a minute. And I mean, hey, listen, that's great. More people got to watch the interview to hear other stuff, but you know how it was. As soon as he said Jackson said no, you knew exactly what was going to happen when that hit social media.
You know what? After we talked about it, Blue, I ain't thought two seconds about it since. Like I told folks, listen, man. At the end of the day, it sounds good. I don't mind playing them, but I feel like we got the leverage right now. We can't do anything about the games that's already scheduled. Like, I'm interested to see this Southern game next year. Is this thing gonna be a real thing where we'll get Southern in Birmingham where we can really make the money they said we can make? Because at the end of the day, if the TV contracts aren't what we want them to be, where the member institutions get payouts like some of these big schools, there was a report today that Oregon's trying to get to the Big Ten, which I don't blame them. If I'm Oregon and I'm Washington, I'm going hair on fire to the Big Ten on the first train smoking. Now, Oregon State too. So, but if I'm keeping it a buck though, my thing is this: you want to cash in on this moment, because I was told by someone had a chance to do an interview with that you won't see this train coming again. And I got some information on some things that's coming to Jackson State that I wouldn't dare disclose, but man, we got to strike while the iron is hot. And anything that doesn't fit what we're trying to do in this moment, man, to hell with that. But anyway, hey man, I'm gonna let Zoe read that one and he can do what they want to do with that one. They're coming at you, dog.
Oh no, I'm just gonna say, the one thing is apparent, like I said, there's an underbelly of intrigue for that game. So, and it's not going anywhere. It's only gaining momentum because it's almost like two boxers who can't face each other. And we're
Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua, and now they value them fail. So you got to strike while the iron is hot.
Yeah, so there's an underbelly of intrigue for it.
And beat all of them up.
And it's going to be deafening in early February if North Dakota State wins another natty and Jackson State wins the Celebration Bowl. a whole nother summer of what
Yeah.
ifs is going to come y'all's way. So just be
Yep.
ready,
That's
everyone.
true.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
true. That's a good point, man. That's
That's
a
a
good point.
damn good
You know
point,
what?
Blue.
But you know what, though, Blue? I welcome that because if we're in that conversation, that means we won. So I'd much rather be on that side of it then, because this is what comes up from that. They say that right now, and you know what people say? Well, hell, they can't even beat South Carolina. They got blew out by South Carolina State. And you know what? That's true. Can't say nothing about it. So I ain't got PTSD. I was just hurt. It was a hard walk back to the restaurant when I left Mercedes-Benz Stadium. That was a very tough day. But it's a new season, man. Hey, man, the official 2022 HBCU season is upon us, man. Next time y'all see us, we're going to have some highlights. We're going to have some coaching interviews. We're going to have a full-blown production, man. We're going to really give you guys a chance to really shine. We'll get some player interviews and all that good stuff. And obviously, it'll be the stuff that's already out there. We'll just play it so they can see it, and then we'll dissect it. We'll talk about it. Lou, you're more than welcome anytime to come on, because I know you're gonna have some really. I'm curious to see. Hey, man. Hey, at this point, if you don't come, then they're gonna be in the comments saying, "I don't want to be over here listening to Zoe and Ken because Blue ain't on here." So now, bro, you got to come back to the show anytime we do it, because it's about to be on, man. About to be
There's
on.
a
I can't
third
wait.
game. There's a third game on. There's a third game on Saturday too. Somebody else is playing. There's 3 games on Saturday.
Who else plays? Let's pull it up.
Jacksonville State, Stephen F. Austin is going to be a huge one in Montgomery.
That's
FCS kickoff game, 2:30.
That's what it is.
That's this Saturday?
Yep.
Ooh. Jacksonville State, Stephen F. Austin?
Yep. It's the FCS kickoff game. It's in I forgot what the stadium's called. It's the other stadium in Montgomery, not Alabama State's, but the other one. They play the Camilla Bowl.
Crampton Bowl. It's the Crampton Bowl.
Yeah.
Crampton Bowl.
Yep.
And
so
then
that's going to be a huge one.
Stephen F. Austin is going to Auburn.
Yep.
Yeah, I got to tap in on that. That's going to be good. Now, when Jacksonville State is 2023 in Conference USA?
Yeah, so the weird thing is, not Stephen F. Austin, Sam Houston State and Jacksonville State, they have the extra scholarships already. So they're not eligible to be ranked. They're not eligible for the conference championship. So pretty much it's just a wasted season almost for them. And so I had my Stephen F. Austin preview today with my guy Dustin Helton, who's over there with Stephen F. Austin, and he was saying that Stephen F. Austin fans are looking at it like they got to play Jacksonville State, Sam Houston State, and an FBS game. He was like, in my opinion, I think we got 3 FBS games. He was like, if you're going to have the scholarships already, why don't we get credit for the FBS win if you get 20-something extra scholarships already? Plus, they brought Rich Rod in and everything. So it's going to be a weird season for Jacksonville State and Sam Houston State because they aren't playing for anything. It's just they're just kind of at their like fake FCS teams this year.
Hey, I want to Hey, he said, "Welcome to podcast, Miss Ken Miak will be listening." No, that's fine, man. We the Miak gonna lose the SWAC Miak challenge and the Celebration Bowl. You heard it from me first. All right, there you have it, Mr. Russell Russell Haynes. Ain't that like an actor name? Am I tripping? But anyway, back to what I really wanted to ask. You said, Ken, what train? The train that I'm talking about is that we happen. This is an anomaly that we live in. Coach Prime being our head coach. We got NFL coaches on our staff, all the stuff we covered last week. Man, we've never seen. We've seen so many. I've never seen this before in my life. In the past 2 years, I'm saying you gotta really. Zoe said something on our show. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to catch our Tiger Talk with 1400 Club with the crew. He said, I don't have to wait to Coach Prime to leave in order to start appreciating what this man is bringing to the table right now. You got to enjoy this ride, folks. What are you waiting on, man? What are y'all waiting? If you are waiting for something to happen in order for you to be excited right now, then you a fool. But Blue, so will they be ranked or not?
So Jacksonville State and Stephen F. and Sam Houston State will not be ranked. Stephen F. Austin is number 10 in the country right now. So even if they lose to Jacksonville State, they're not dropping out of the top 25. So Alcorn State will have a chance to pick up a top 25 win week 1.
How many HBCUs, Blue, do you have seen? Do you really realistically feel could enter the top 25 this year?
So Jackson State's already in my top 15. I think they have a chance to get to the top 10 if they go 2-0 to start the season. I think FAMU, if they pull the Jackson State upset, is going to be jumping in a lot of people's top 25, especially because a lot of the voters don't take into account FBS games. They're not going to dock you for a loss against a Power 5 team or anything like that. So I don't think the UNC game is going to impact their ranking. Now, the interesting ones for me are going to be North Carolina A&T and Tennessee State. Because if Tennessee State goes to Eastern Washington. And pulls off that upset, I'm just gonna let y'all know, because I'm open with my voting. I'm doing a Monday show where I drop my actual top 25 that I submitted and break it all down for everyone. They're gonna be in my top 20 if they pull that game off. Just gonna let y'all know.
If they win the first two, it's two ranked teams back to back.
And if they beat Jackson State, there's going to be people putting them in the top 15. I'm just letting you know. And North Carolina A&T has a great opportunity. Central's a tough game early in the season. And listen, I mean, I hope not, because the next two games is North Dakota State and Duke on the road. The problem is, and then week 4 is South Carolina State. So they got no room for error, man. So North Carolina A&T is going to have a tough road, but if they win the Big South, they potentially could slide in. And South Carolina State, their schedule's too brutal. So I think Tennessee State, Jackson State, and FAMU.
I was literally just about, you took the words out of my mouth. Man, I looked at South Carolina State and holy shiggity, man. I said, woo! They might not win with 4 games this year. They could win 7. And they can lose, and they can win 4. It depends on how it rolls. I was looking at them games like, that's an L. That's an L. Damn, that's an L. I could be wrong. They gonna come for me and be like, you know how they get. But this is a new year, man. Listen, that Celebration Bowl ain't gonna help you with their schedule. I can tell you that right now. Y'all got to go play them games. Who their quarterback? Is Corey Fields still gonna be starting their quarterback?
He's still there.
Yeah, Corey Fields is still the guy.
He said they need to pick. Hey, only way. See, here's the thing y'all got to understand. If you're new to the conference, like I said, we're not going to be this football talk. The banter is over with for me. I only smack talk the team I'm playing. If I ain't playing you this week, don't talk to me. That's how I started. That's how I do in the football season. I talk smack to the team we playing against. Now, there are a lot of new people that have come to the space, and this is what for those that may not know, Blue, is that if you are an HBCU in the SWAC, you have to lose to get into the playoff. That's just the unfortunate thing about being in the SWAC, because of those 2 schools in Louisiana that plays the freaking Bayou Classic, and they will not change that week. Zoe, can they change? No, they ain't gonna change that week.
Alabama State too.
Alabama State has too. Turkey Day Classic.
Turkey Day Classic now. But before that wasn't. How long has that been going on?
Turkey Day Classic, the oldest classic. It's the oldest classic.
Been going on for a minute.
I thought that was a little okay. I thought the Bayou Classic was the only one that was. I don't.
No, Turkey Day Classic is the first classic between all.
I'm gonna be real with you. I live in a box, in a Jackson State box. I don't care about them other folk, but I'm trying to be a little bit more out. Okay, but our conference has games that go deep into the Thanksgiving Day weekend, and that is the thing that stops us, because if we go back to it, the same day that we played, the same day as the Bayou Classic, FAMU played Southeastern Louisiana.
Yeah, it was the same. It was the same day, and
that's always been a problem. Even when we had our bid, that was always the problem, because whenever Southern or Grambling will win the flag,
they're willing to move it back, which they're not going to do. We have to lose in order to get in there. We have to do what FAMU. I think it's a great consolation if you're good enough to get consideration and get an at-large bid. I think that's dope to be able to have that opportunity, because I'm gonna be real with you. If we lose in the seasons of Blue or Zoe, I absolutely want to go to the playoffs. I absolutely want to go to the playoffs, because I want more football just as a fan. But that's the only way. So Red Wine Hemi 39. That's an interesting name, by the way. That's the only way we can get into the playoffs.
And I just want to say, it's not, I feel like some people blame the SWAC, some people blame the FCS playoffs. Like, once it expanded to the point it did, and they started incorporating bye weeks and everything, the SWAC just had that game on that weekend, and so therefore, and then also the financial ramifications of not really wanting that bid anymore. It's the same thing with the Ivy League too, with them not wanting to play. I mean, the FCS was just like, we're going to expand. This is a schedule, and I've talked to some people in the NCAA office. The reason they don't want to move it back is, one, the northern teams would be very impacted in terms of practice availability in the north due to it being late December, and then also you run into Christmas and New Year's and things like that. And so that's kind of the limiting factor in terms of moving games. If you don't remember, I think the semifinal games were played the week before Christmas, and then they have the Christmas break, and then the national championship comes back. So moving it back, and then the national championship starts running, and then you start running into the NFL playoffs, and the NBA season is going. And so really and truly, man, moving the playoffs back it isn't feasible due to a lot of options, while also moving the Bayou Classic, Turkey Day Classic is also not feasible. So for right now, man, I think it's a stalemate, and it's really not anyone's fault. It's just it's unfortunate that the schedule's kind of played out like that.
EA, so this is so many layers to your statement. Our schedule is not easy. I never understand how you can include your school is included on our schedule. See, we think, I'm telling you, listen, I really feel like,
and we're going to lose 3 games.
Family, listen to me. Jackson State's schedule this year, in my opinion, should be the blueprint that we should follow. If we could. You play one strong FCS opponent, or possibly in FB. I'm just saying, if you don't have to take those games where you can get your brains beat out for a check, then obviously you working with something. So I just think that this year was a little different for us, because you got to keep in mind, this was the only year that we don't have an FBS school on our schedule. So we've always basically had an FBS school. We had USM, we had ULM, we played Mississippi State multiple times, we played USM multiple times. We got ULM again in 2025. We just said it. We got Texas 2024. I mean, we got Texas State next year, and so already, again, for those, so again, if you new to the stream, make sure y'all like the stream, by the way, if you haven't already, and make sure you subscribe to the page. Appreciate the support. Subscribe to the Bluebloods podcast. Subscribe to the Tiger Talk, the 1400 Club podcast, and the 1400 Club. Thank you. But listen, the thing about it is this: the scheduling is what it is. Our 2023 out of conference slots are already full. We're going to play Southern, who falls off of our schedule due to the SWAC mandate, the SWAC flip. We got South Carolina State in the SWAC MEAC challenge, and we got Texas State. Unless we can play 12 games, there is no opening. We got our 8 SWAC games, and we got those 3 games. And then you got 2024, where we're again going to play Southern again. Maybe not having Tennessee State, there's an opening. I don't know, but maybe Southern is going to go in the slot where we would have played Tennessee State.
The 12 game mandate kicks in 2024, so FCS teams can officially play 12 games in 2024. So there'll be an extra slot regardless.
24,
so
25.
Now in 2024 and 2025, now you're looking at the possibility of us getting a little bit more of that. So I think right now people just don't really. People want to apply a scheduling, like, everybody's schedule that you're seeing, the work had already been done for that. You know what I mean? So it's you maybe even if you had an opening, and we all can attest to it, it doesn't mean that the school you might want to play, they may not have an opening. Schedules have to line up. Luckily for us, Campbell had an opening on the day that just so happened to be our homecoming. And we've already said that game ain't gonna be tough, man. I mean, that game ain't gonna be easy. So, we got 4 HBCU Bluebloods on our schedule. That's tough. You got FAMU in a year. You got FAMU. You got Southern. You got Tennessee State, and you got Grambling. Past few years, we either didn't have Grambling, we didn't have FAMU. Now you got FAMU, Grambling, Southern, and Tennessee State all in the same year, and they're all strong, led by Eddie George, Willie Simmons, and Hugh Jackson. So I'm just saying, man. And Eric Dooley, who that team looks good, and I got the Southern notes. I won't disclose what I had a scout at the scrimmage, and what Corey says though said this dude getting play by play. I had the play by play on everything that Southern did. Looks like number 11 gonna be their quarterback, but that's another day for another week. But anyway, so yeah, man, I don't think our schedule is as easy as people making it out. But I do get it. We didn't play no FBS school this year. I was away. Yeah, I wish we all wish that there was a way we can incorporate. He said that's why we stopped playing Turkey Day so we could go to the D2 playoff. Chris McCray, that's a great point. Bayou Classic isn't moving. I absolutely know that. That's true. That ain't gonna happen. Last but not, let's see. Calvin Liddell, to get consistent SWAC playoff, we have to eliminate the SWAC championship, Turkey Day Classic, and the Bayou Classic. Keep the celebration ball. So we would have to adopt a MEAC style schedule where we don't play a championship game. Where it used to be best record was SWAC champion. I don't like that. I like a championship game. I'm sorry. When you get the you got a big time sponsor, and you get to make that money, you get to keep. I hope that they keep it on the Blue. I hope they keep it where the best record gets to host the game. That's working. That's working well. Go ask Alcorn. Because they had one of the livest, for real. They had one of the livest. You go back and look at that. Alcorn had a live. Southern couldn't win over there, by the way. They had a real live SWAC championship atmosphere going on. Man, I'm way behind on these comments. We're gonna take a few more comments, man, and then we're gonna shut this thing down in a few minutes. We can go about 2.5 hours. He said, "Good. At least I'm honest, but wrong. BAC. I don't know what that means, Russ. But yes, y'all see anything y'all want to touch on? Feel free. Y'all can jump on anything. Which thing was the biggest upgrade? What was the biggest JSU? I'll let Blue you take this, and we'll jump into it.
I think it depends on what you're talking about. I think in terms of recruiting, I think coaches are easily the biggest upgrade just because of all the different coaches you added. I mean, listen, that's going to play major roles in terms of bringing players to Jackson State and getting them on campus, getting them on visits, and understanding where they can fit into your system and kind of building that NFL pipeline up, especially when you look at a Mike Zimmer. But listen, between the white lines, it's players, man. I mean, listen, you can be the best coach in the world if you don't have talent, you're not going to win. And so I think the player upgrades at key positions is going to be the biggest thing for Jackson State this upcoming season, man. They landed some outstanding athletes, man, from high school to the transfer portal. I still think it's players all day, in my opinion.
So, you got anything? I think it's all in one. I don't know if I wouldn't separate that. I think the upgrade is the coach, players, and facility. But you got anything on that, Zoe?
I think the upgrade, I will concur, is coaching. Facility, we haven't touched the tip of the iceberg of what we're going to do, as you know, that's coming down the pipe. So I wouldn't say facility just yet. Yeah, we got the new field and the locker room is updated, but I would go with the roster and the coaches right now.
Though, say if Jackson State loses FAMU and win out, and Campbell and Tennessee State win their conference, could JSU host a playoff game?
They put the money up.
Well, nope. I was about to say don't want to because we're not going to waste no money to host a game.
Yeah, because you got the way to host a game, just for people who don't know, is when the matchups are determined. Even before the matchups are determined. My bad. I'm blanking out when you get accepted, when you find out you're a playoff team, even before the matchups are ever released, you give an envelope to the committee, and you write down what you're willing to bid for a home game. And then randomly, without the committee looking, they set the first round matchups. They take the two offers, put them to the side, and then whoever wrote down or bid the highest amount to host that game gets that home game. So there's no like, oh, we're playing Southeastern. We know about what their budget is. Let's bet this. You never know who you're going to play. And you just have to say, listen, we're willing to pay $3-4 million for a home game.
And let me make it plain. We're going to pay somebody money to host a game that we're going to turn around and give them 7% of the profit to.
Yep.
Nah. Hell no. We ain't doing that. So he said, so no money games, but your budget is $11 million. Not understanding. Well, I think the biggest problem, EA, is that you trying to understand something that don't apply to y'all. So that's one of the biggest things. But no, for real,
Well,
our
to even
budget.
hold on, Ken, to even make that
I'm
plan for him.
go ahead.
I was gonna say to make that plan for him, it's not so much the budget is $11 million. The budget is the $11 million covers our whole entire athletic budget. So we can't take a loss in any shape, form, or fashion. We're trying to raise that money from 11 million up to something else. We can't take a loss. So
Remember
everything that
we
we do
had
has to be calculated because we're trying to maximize everything that we have. We can't take a loss because see, if we take a loss, another sport is going to feel the effects of it. And
most
that's why
definitely.
I
Y'all
mentioned about going
remember
to the playoffs when to answer like Coach Prime said, what constitutes as a win. So for an example, let's say we go to the FCS playoffs, we host the game, we have a bid, and let's say we have 2 home games, another bid, and we pay all this money, and let's say we win a championship. Okay, so we won a championship, but because of what we done, we sabotaged other things, and now we possibly may have to cut, let's say, women's basketball. So is it a win for us? People will say, "Oh
we
yeah, we
cut
competed
golf.
against the best."
Let's use a real sport. Like we cut golf because
We
we were
come,
running.
exactly.
We ate into our reserves. We had a administration change. There's a lot going on with the monies. We had either interim president. It was a tough time in the dark day for Jackson State. Then we get a new president. Then we have to get another president because of a scandal. There's just a lot going on. So the number that we figured from last season for Jackson State budget was right around 12.3 million, I want to say, 12 and a half maybe. And that's just factoring in what the conference contributed to to our university. And that's coming out of the commissioner's mouth. So you take that with however you want to take it, because that gave us a number. He gave the figures and he said we gave X amount of dollars, which was 25% of that budget, and you just do the math on that and that's kind of tell you what the budget was. Because a lot of times we've heard numbers like half of that. But I don't even think that our budget I think our budget is way bigger than that too, because we're getting now granted, this is not paper money. This is gap filling through relationships from Coach Prime and the things that he's getting that we know we ain't got the money to pay for. So that goes back to the point earlier when we talked about it. We have a man that's leading the program. And Blue, I'm gonna tell you this because I had privy to a conversation today. And when I say Coach Prime has his hands on every single thing that's happening in relation to the university and the football program, it's very refreshing to know that, because what he's doing is, along with the athletic director, we have a phenomenal AD Robinson, and they make a great team. They are looking at everything. And I cannot wait, man, till this show comes out where we're able to really give out the information where I'll say it this way. The days of getting by at Jackson State on game day is over with. And I'm telling you, the people that's in
Facts.
the places that's doing things, the systems that's being put in place, I love it, man. It's a new day. So that's just one day. That's just one day of many things that we got to touch, because everything needed to be looked at. When I say everything, when it's bad, it's bad. So we talking about bad business, and we talking about not just bad business from a year ago. We talking about multiple years of bad business, multiple different departments, and so forth. So I'm not talking about just Jack State. I'm just talking about HBCUs in general. We got a long way to go. So everything is not apples to apples when you comparing one school what they got to do. Because Coach Simmons on Luke, when Luke hosted this, Luke and D and Coach Clark hosted the spaces, Coach Prime and Coach Simmons comes on, and you know what? They both coached at the HBCU. You got FAMU, you got Jack State, and to that point, both of them are on the same plane, but they're coming from two different directions, and they got to take two different routes in order to get to where they're going. You guys got anything y'all want to add? Y'all feel free to throw in. I'll shut up.
No, the only thing I want to add too is, again, I think when people talk about the playoffs, they're looking at it in a vacuum. They're not really being open-minded. They're looking at it baseline as if like, okay, hey, it's regular season for all the schools, and then it's playoffs, and we're playing for a championship. But it's not that black and white. I wish it was, but it's not. That's not the case. And see, if that was the case, then I think everybody would have a leg to stand on. But if the playoffs are what everybody seems to make them out to be, then we would not have this great influx of these top tier teams leaving to go to greener pastures, knowing that the very thing they're pursuing on this level, they won't have a snowball chance in hell of playing in at this other level that they're going to. Because again, it's all about money. If they're having this great success playing for a championship, right? Well, why in the hell am I going to leave to go to the FBS knowing that I'm going to an avenue that these Power Fives have language that's going to prevent me from playing or giving me access to play for a championship? Because as you know, the best thing that Jacksonville State, James Madison, all these schools, the best thing they can do is what, Blue? Play for a New Year's Six bowl game.
Yeah.
That's the setup of it. So
Mike,
again, that lets you
yes,
know
go
what
ahead.
the value of a championship is. So again, and that's not to hate on them at all. They're doing what's best for them. But again, if the FCS playoff were just straight across the bone or across the board, hey, regular season, and no matter what, we're going to set some baseline. And hey, the champion of every league come here. We're going to really compete for a national championship. If it was that simple and just that black and white, then yeah, everybody should be into it. But that's not what it is. And I really wish people understand that it's not that black and white. It's not. And again, we act like everybody has the same setup, like a North Dakota State or a James Madison or South Dakota State. These teams in the South. We've been redlined. I mean, regards to funding. North Dakota State, James Madison, and South Dakota State, they don't have those issues. So again, everything is not, as Coach Prime said, it's not a level playing field. If it was, and then we were losing, then we can't say anything. We just got to get our weight up, pick ourselves up by our bootstraps. But that's not the case, and I really wish people understood that.
Says, how do you have money problems when you average? See, I don't think the money isn't equated to 60. So we've yet to have a 60,000 fan game. We had an average of 42 last year. We got up to 58. The stadium seats right at about 60,000. Um, but you also got to factor in the fact that it costs money, Blue, for us to host a game at home. It's game day
Yeah.
operation. Not having an on-campus stadium actually does cost. We got to take multiple buses from the campus to the university to the stadium to get the boom to the stadium to get. You got security. You got the football team got to be hauled over. The equipment got to be hauled over.
We
The
have
instruments
greater
got.
overhead.
I mean, before you even kick the ball off, you got everything that's going on with that. So you got to. That's where ticket sales come into play. That's where your parking, your tailgate, and all that. That's why I love the things that are coming down the pipe because we're able to recoup some of that revenue. But the reality of the matter is that we're only talking about a handful of games. Keep in mind the other games that you're going on the road, you don't make a dollar. You just incurring expenses. So it's not like, and then you're talking about taking the boom, but you're gonna actually. So it makes sense from a budget standpoint because a lot of HBCUs are not funded by the states like they should be. Shout out to a lot of the universities that are getting some of that money that they've been owed for years by some of the states. And there's a lot of history that comes into that. And we've been historically, like we said, we've been the experts on doing more with less. So that's
Can't,
why.
I can't. Let
Go
me
ahead.
interject, man. I just saw something that's really ticked me out. Russell Hayes, hey, bro. Look, I
And
don't deal with Indian.
by the way, don't just cut me off there, y'all. So y'all go after me, man.
I
Go ahead,
did,
man.
and
I'm
it's
messing with
worthwhile. Look, man, I don't deal with
I'm messing with
innuendo, man. Look out here, Jackson State left half our fans in free. Man, that's cap. Not f that. That's a lie. Come on, man, do better than that.
That's
Put
not true,
it,
by the way.
it's not true in a long shot. Half our friends, all the
Y'all be
friends
getting
getting
this
free.
stuff from.
Oh my god, where do you get this stuff from, man?
Twitter.
Yeah, but
It's
a couple
crazy.
more comments, man, and we're gonna get us at Russell Hayes is a troll. Yeah, I'm starting to see that now. I'm gonna stop giving you. I hope you subscribe, man. How you, Blue? You gonna have to show me how to put it on subscriber only comments, man. So that way, jokers ain't subscribed on the channel. They ain't gonna be able to talk. You want to
Tell you
talk? You
what,
gotta
man, we
subscribe.
if we letting everybody in free, then everybody else should on top of what they're paying, they should let everybody in free then, so they can have a packed house. If that's the case, then
Man,
like, come
I
on,
would
stop the
love
cap,
to.
man.
I would love to see us get into a position where we could get in one of those conferences that get them big payouts. We'll close a lot of gaps really fast if we could, man. So I think.
Oh, and
Thank you, Red Wine. I mean, this is what it's for. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, there's a reason for everything. Everything is a great explanation, but I believe you should be getting both 3 million per game because you already know it had 40,000 state. No, I mean you got to keep in mind that we averaged in the 30s for the past couple of years. When you're talking about um, not having a winning product, when you I say self-sabotage your program and you shoot your own self in the foot, and then there's a lot of money that's lost there. Now there's a lot of loyal, faithful Jackson State fans that continue to patronize the product and still come to the games, but we weren't very good. And for lack of better terms, we sucked. Okay. Especially by
Look,
Jackson State fans. And
at the end of the
I'm
day,
saying
man,
that's
it's
a
a
real
business.
thing. So what we try to do is we try to apply logic to every single thing without actually getting all the details of what really transpired. And like I said, not to be long-winded about it, there's a reason for everything. And I don't think it's just as simple as saying, oh, you got 42,000. You got to keep in mind when you eat into your reserves, which is something that was on record that wound up happening to us. That's a dangerous thing because at the end of the day, before we even get to football, it costs money to operate the university. It costs money to keep the doors open, first and foremost. So it ain't just football, man. There's so many things, and then you got a lot of sports that you're funding that don't generate revenue. You got a lot of non. This is why I blew the conversation that we had in regards to trying to get to the FBS level was such a conundrum for a lot to understand. My only take on that was that I feel like there's a way, even though I don't know what that way may look like. But I'm saying it's time to have a real conversation to see if that's something we really could do. Because all I'm trying to do, I'm trying to be like a leprechaun and get to that pot of gold. Because I know if we get to that bag is going to close a lot of gaps for us. Because that's really where the gaps are. I'll let you close out with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think also a lot of people have to look at attendance in some sort of a perspective too. Is that a lot of these schools across all levels are having to find other ways to really find money for their programs, especially FCS, because attendance across sports in general, especially college sports, is on the decline on average. Like there's only a handful of schools that experienced an increase over the past few years, and Jackson State is one of those. But
Arkansas on the FBS level
yep.
and Jackson State on FCS.
And so everybody else is slowly losing attendance, and it's because of all the streaming services, the cost of actually attending a game, travel. Like there's a lot of outside factors. So I think a lot of people are putting a lot of stock into attendance when really and truly, I don't know if that's fully representative of what's going on behind the scenes budget wise, because I think a lot of programs are learning that if you rely on ticket sales to fund your program solely, or that's a majority, then you're going to be in a lot of hot water when it comes down to really balancing that checkbook.
Coach Prime said something. I had a chance to go to the Q&A, and Coach Prime said, why does it need to be a classic for us to come to the games? That's a real question that we got to ask ourselves. We say we love the culture and we value this, value that. And he just said right up the street, you go to these games, they show up. They show up. They don't need a classic. They just have a football game. And he challenged a lot of us. I know a lot of those things are culturally acceptable because we like to go to the game. And for one of the things I would say, and I'm going to say this, and this probably will be my last thing before we get off the stream, we got to stop looking at HBCU football as some type of self-serving type, like it's like HBCU football ain't made for us to serve us. We have such a what has it done for me type mentality when it should be the other way around. But we should be the ones that they're trying to support these. It's always I like my football to serve, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to follow tradition, but you got to keep in mind that if traditions ain't paying the bills and it's costing us, we losing out on opportunities because we start staying hold to stale traditions that are keeping us broke. At some point, you got to switch things up. And when decisions are made because we not buying season tickets, I don't have that number right now, Blue. But for those of us, and I speak for Jackson State, man, we should have had at least 30,000 season tickets sold. We should have had a shit ton of season tickets sold. We got 4 games, and that means the season ticket package is going to be cheaper than it's been in years. How many season tickets did we sell? I'm just saying. That's the type of stuff that I always say. So we got to get out of this welfare mentality and waiting for And to Zoe's point, a lot of this stuff that we're getting because Coach Prime, man. Let's just call it what it is. And I'm thankful for it. I ain't gonna apologize about that. One thing I will say is that Coach Prime is going to demand us to do more. That's why you're seeing me. Is it gonna cost? You know what I did, Blue, in order to get to the games I'm planning on going to? I bust my behind and I saved up because I said, you know what, I'm gonna make more of a concerted effort. We're in this media space. I'm gonna definitely try to put a lot more energy to it. Now I know everybody isn't capable of doing that, but if you live in Jackson and if you at home, you only got 4 chances to get to a game. Okay, so you don't make it to the road. So you don't go on a road game, but at least you should get to Jackson and get to those 4 games in season and then get to that SWAC championship game, that 5th game. So that's the game we're looking for. So we're gonna have 5 home games. You heard it here on this stream. We're gonna have 5 home games this year. We're gonna play them 4 games, and then we're gonna play somebody else in Jackson for the SWAC championship. And that's all I got, fellas. Y'all got anything else? Any parting words before we close this stream?
Nah,
Lou,
man,
I appreciate
I'm good.
you, brother.
Hey, I appreciate you guys, man.
Man,
Hey,
keep
yeah,
doing
thanks, Blue, for coming on, man.
Man, you're doing good work out there, man. And listen, hey, in 1 more week, it's gonna be all football talk and all that bull junk that folks been talking about. We can brush that to the side, man. Somebody said I would be at all the games, but too. Hey, that's dope. Now I'm saying 10.
Hey, so let the record show, man. From this day forward, man, it's strictly football. All the conversation is strictly football. That's it.
That's why we came tonight. I'm telling y'all, man, next week's show gonna be off the chain because we're gonna have we'll be able to really have some real highlights. We just gonna talk about what happened and what they felt about it, what they had to say about it, and then we'll dissect the breakdown. We'll even highlight the player of the game. We ain't giving out no awards and like that. We'll just make sure we have the production standpoint where we can highlight that player and give them they shine. And we're just gonna roll with it and see how it goes, see where it goes.
That's it. Football it. Football only.
The city of Jackson, state of Mississippi, better realize Coach Prime is our state Monday night quarterback. Can't wait, man. I appreciate y'all rocking with me, man. All love. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like the stream. Tiger Talk with the 1400 Club, King Clark 1400, Bluebloods. Y'all make sure y'all show some love. Appreciate y'all, man. All right, fellas. We'll catch y'all next week.
All right, man. I love. Go Tigers.
Go Tigers. Blue, you can say go Tigers. It's cool.